Just a minute. Let me adjust my lighting here. It's a bit coming up. I was trying to get light, natural light from outside, but it's gonna affect the video. Let me just try and put some artificial light. From the position I'm sitting, the lightning is gonna affect. I think I'm better now. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, Gambia and Gambians. It's me, Suleiman Ben Suare, coming on Facebook Live to send my good messages, good New Year messages to Gambia and friends of Gambia. The importance of this message actually is not me wishing only Gambians a happy New Year, but my message is response to and analyzing the message we got yesterday from Yaya Jammeh. And if you bear me a minute, the message, I thought it was a small thing to talk about, but it might take a little while to finish analyzing the New Year's message from Yaya Jammeh, and the response and the strategy to deal with what we have in our hands. I will try and continue this in English for the benefit of non-Wolof or deep Wolof listeners. I have complained from some of my comrades that they said that they can understand the Wolof, but at times it's difficult for them to understand some of the dialogue. Yes, good afternoon again, Gambians. Happy New Year to you all. And Happy New Year to all friends of Gambia, especially Senegal, the ECOWAS, but the whole international community. My New Year greetings to you is filled with hope that we'll have a peaceful transition to a civilian rule, finally to a civilian rule, democratic civilian rule. But we'll have to come with responsibilities, and we'll have to come with hard work and discipline for us to achieve that. The work is not over. It's not time for celebrations, but it's time to concentrate. And if we analyze this message from Yaya Jammeh, I think we will understand where we are today. And I'm happy this morning. I was alerted before even coming off my bed. I would have to go into Facebook to track down some of the happenings or my messages. And I was glad I was alerted by a sister, Fatou Menga, on a message that Madi Jobate have put on Facebook regarding to the strategies to confront Yaya Jammeh. And I think it's a brilliant piece, the civil disobedience or the civil disobedience approach. And I think it's a brilliant analysis or idea that we need to exploit. And it's one of the reasons that really actually motivated me to come forward today. And because time is essence to try and highlight Madi Jobate's idea for that matter, and because it's strategic in what we do. And in order to achieve a peaceful transition, and in order to avert a military intervention, I think, as we've been saying, we need a strategy, and the civil disobedience strategy, or the approach of the strategy of approaching this thing to consolidate power by using the strategy of reconciliation. You see, this was the importance of saying this. Yes, we are still anticipating, and we'll still anticipate, and we'll still prepare ourselves for the eventualities that we need to use force to enforce peace. In that, but the most important strategy now is this approach of we be taught in military doctrine, there's something called space and time. In this space and time we have, our strategy would be to consolidate power, continue to consolidate power, and that's why I will have to, and actually with the events, because the speech from Yajame contain a lot, and it if in it embedded are the strategies that Yajame is relying on. But there some of the strategies have already been deployed, and then we have to open our eyes and deal with it. And that's where this discussion is going to go to. Yes, Yajame message to Gambians. I know Gambians being what we are or who we are. That's why people can always, or we can always call ourselves naive. No, it's our good nature. It's our in good nature. We still gave Yahya Jammeh the benefit of the doubt. We still have this hope and thinking that the last minute Yahya Jammeh would take this chance and do the right thing. And what was the chance was what we expect from a head of state, what we expect for a leader on the day of commemorating the end of the year. As Gambians, of majority Muslims, we are secular, and we are one family with Christians, and we are celebrating the coming of the new year, not on religious grounds, but on the what commonalities we have with our other as a secular state or secular people. I mean, that's why we celebrate New Year. I have seen some disturbing, some young Gambians disturbing who have picked up to this Wahhabi thinking, saying that why do we commemorate or celebrate the New Year? I'll tell you one thing: we celebrate the New Year because it's human. It's about humanity. It's not about an ideology that separate. It's not about ideology that alienate. It's that ideology that brings people together. That's why it's essential to celebrate New Year as we celebrate the Islam, the Muslim Islamic New Year. And if we had Buddhist in the Gambia, we would have celebrated the Chinese or the Hindu New Year and every New Year, because of it's the commonality. This is what we know in Islam, that we celebrate the goodness of people. These are the ideas we reject. Not that because someone called themselves Muslims, or they try to identify themselves as Muslims by wearing an identity, haftans or warambas or kurus or anything to identify themselves. Those are the most of those people, and open their mouth and speak, with the tongue of Satan. Those are the people that we should distance ourselves, not the people that call themselves any other religion, but from their mouth they talk peace and humanity. These are the people who are our people. We don't count people in our religion because of how they look. We count them from how they behave and what they add up to the public interest. Yes, but the Gambians, we expect Yahya Jammeh, and yes, because you are only disappointed. You are only disappointed when you expect something from someone. But I wasn't disappointed. I'll tell you, I could have written that speech. If you asked me 2 days ago, before Yahya Jammeh also in that speech, if you asked me what the speech was going to be, I can write that speech out and I have 80%, even word to word, of what Yahya Jammeh was going to say. But let's go into before getting to the Yahya Jammeh speech. Let's just give an example of what we expect from a responsible leader. Yes, still now we call him a responsible leader. If you bear me a minute, I'm trying to sit down here comfortably, and I just have to rest my feet here and get to something here. I managed to have extract of the speech from Macky Sall. Yeah, I have an extract from the speech from Macky Sall. And the important of the pointing out to Macky Sall speech is it's to show you the responsibility. I'm going to forward it to a sister. turned around to say that I wish he was our president. But I assure that sister that I have this belief that we can have something better than Macky Sall in our Adama Barrow. The reason is, if we Gambians come together and do the right thing and hold ourselves responsible and hold Adama Barrow responsible and the coalition partners, we can have something better than Macky Sall. And we will during our discussions, further discussions, will we go into the reason I think Gambia can produce a better leadership, and Gambia can be among the best nation states in Africa or among in the world, because our size and our Gambianness, we can work on that and achieve this. And but another important point about this extract from Macky Sall is just to reiterate, to tell you, this is the first time any Senegalese president, and will tell you, because for a leader to address his people, he have to address the urgency of the people. I mean, depending on the commemoration of the day. If it is a religious festival or whatever it is, that's the nature of the address. But you have to address your people according to what concerns them. And the reason is here. Part of the extract is about what concerns, what should concern the Senegalese, is the Gambian situation. And Macky Sall have addressed the Gambian situation in the New Year's speech, which have never happened. Probably it happened in 81, I didn't know of. I mean, but just tells you the urgency and what we share with Senegal. Remind you what we say in Senegal. Yes, they have an interest. Yes, and that's our interest. Senegalese interest in Gambia is our interest, is the stability of the Gambia. And any other interest, I mean, is something that is mutual to us. Economic, and whatever it's going to be, security and whatever it's going to be, is going to be mutual. It's going to be based on a term that we Gambians accept, on a democratic and based on international law and understanding. And let me just read the extract for the benefit of people who have not seen it or haven't shared it with. Message of Macky Sall: this evening, my dear compatriots, on your behalf, on my own, I would also like to reiterate our support and solidarity with the brothers and sisters in the Gambia for a peaceful transmission of power in accordance with the choice they have freely expressed the presidential election of December 1st, 2016, a choice recognized by ECOWAS, Africa, the Islamic Ummah, and the United Nations. And as we said, the importance of the message. Macky Sall is calling on his own behalf, and the Senegalese, being the president of Senegal, be the head of the sovereignty of Senegal, showing solidarity to the Gambian people, on a decision we've taken and the process we're going through for a peaceful transition of power. It's diplomatic. The peaceful transition of power, this is what we're asking for. This is the point that Macky Sall said. And Macky Sall remind the Senegalese public and the Gambian for that message that, look, this is a decision which is lawful. This is a decision that is moral, and this is the decision that international have taken. The international as what? Us Senegal, ECOWAS as this organization which is closer to us that we are part of, and Africa, for that matter, being the continent we are part of, and the Islamic Ummah, which is important that Gambia and Senegal and most of the some of the African countries are part of, and other part of the world are part of, but the whole nations of the United Nations, where all of the sovereign states are belonging. This is a point. That is the point I want to emphasize to Gambian youth. This is where it is. As Madi Jobate, my brother, said, take this page and throw it into Yaya Jammeh's face. Don't have anxieties about anything. But as my brother Madi Jobate said, it's time to use a strategy and move along and get this peaceful transition to civilian democratic rule. Yes, I would have to come to the Yaya Jammeh speech now. I think I can put my feet up again. Looking at this speech, the speech was weak. The speech was scripted. It was scripted. You can see how attentive Yaya Jammeh was reading. this speech tells you that there are people behind Yaya Jammeh, and these people are not soldiers. That's why whenever I emphasize, it's not that I'm empathetic to soldiers because I was a soldier or I'm still a soldier. No, because I'm saying it as I understand it. I'm saying it as I think it is. Before any action, the politicians, the policymakers are the most important people. They are the people that bring out the policy. They are the people that give the political support. The soldiers take the action. That's why soldiers too are equally important. But let us not lose sight and thinking that it's only the army that's our solution. No. The political movement and the politicians are a solution to our problem. To our problem. That's why if you look at the speech, if you listen to the speech, it's a technically written. And another thing, you listen to Yaya Jammeh. Yaya Jammeh have emphasized on 3 paragraphs. He went back on 3 paragraphs. He went back on 3 paragraphs. To what? Emphasize on the paragraphs because of he thinks the importance of those paragraphs. He trying to emphasize on those paragraphs so that it would stick into the head and minds of Gambians. But also to convince himself. Because we all know that the whole speech is an utter of rubbish. But it's an utter of rubbish if we understand the speech and use it and strategize and pull that carpet underneath Yaya Jammeh. What is happening right now is, when the speech was prepared, there were other strategies already running on. Yaya Jammeh have a strategy of three, what we identify, 3-layer strategy. And I will run through the layers, and I'll try to analyze the 3-layer strategies Yaya Jammeh have. And we have to look at how we counter these layers. Yaya Jammeh have strategy of leadership. Yaya Jammeh is trying to assert leadership control through consolidating power. Through consolidating power. In what sense? If you listen to the Senegalese media, Gambians, be very careful. Be very careful. You see, when you deal with an intelligence, messaging is the most important thing. Intelligence is about message, strategy, everything that you work. Any strategy that people work on, they have to message it. And in order for that message to work through, you have to push it out in the right channels, from the right channel, from who? People that you convince, the people that you want to convince. And one way of doing that now is through the Senegalese media. Yaya Jammeh have realized that we are listening to Senegalese media. And that's the only media apart from the diaspora media. And another media is the diaspora media. That's why we, on the diaspora media, we be very careful on the rumors coming out from Yaya Jammeh. It's been messaged to us. But equally, we should be very careful on the message coming out from the Senegalese media. And if I say the Senegalese media, the panelists, I mean the panelists. Guys, there's a call coming in. I mean the panelists on the Senegalese media. Most of these panelists have been infiltrated by Yaya Jammeh. They have been paid. And they are messages. Try to win the Senegalese population or try to make the Senegalese population. And part of these people, and I will say this again, as I said, the reason Yaya Jammeh went and planted the GDC in Senegal, the GDC, I mean Mama Kandeh in Senegal, this is part of it. And this that GDC, the branch of the Senegalese intelligence. You see, there's a Rogo said Senegalese intelligence that Jammeh have bought. We came across them. We know that. There's a Rogo Senegal intelligence. That's why we're very careful from which personals of Senegal we take. Some of them will come. Yeah, they work for Senegalese intelligence, but they are at the same time working for Yaya Jammeh. The Rogo Senegalese intelligence that is in control of the GDC. The Senegalese Rogo Senegalese intelligence that advised Yaya Jammeh to create the GDC. So if by God's grace will come and expose the GDC of how they form and what they form for and what they stood for. And the people that are still following the GDC, who were genuinely following the GDC, and if they cannot see these facts and accept them, then it's up to them. But we'll tell you, we'll give you the facts. Now, if you listen to messages, you see, they will come on a panels, and these are the regular panelists. They are most of them are regular panelists. They will come and say things to make us fear, to make the Senegalese distance themselves, or the Senegalese population to go against the stand of the Senegalese government. Yes, the reason is we got the weekend of the Monday. I think it's Monday or Tuesday of the elections. When Friday the elections were called, on the Monday we intercepted a GDC backer, a financial backer, who approached a Senegalese officer, trying to bribe them for them to start to put their foot off the accelerator on Gambia. For what? Yahya Jammeh to have his will. But that backer was thinking that Yahya Jammeh having his will is for GDC to stand the chance of winning an election, because that backer is not, as to my understanding, he is not aware of the GDC stand. He is aware of whatever been sold to him by Mama Kandeh. But this will be exposed after the end of this debacle with Yahya Jammeh. We'll get to that. There'll be no stone left turned. But let's be very wary about this media thing. Now, Yahya Jammeh is trying to regain control. In another sense, you see the intimidation going to the hashtag Gambia. You see the intimidation going to the hashtag Gambia has decided. It's what? Because of Yahya Jammeh is trying to push the people power. At the same time, when Yahya Jammeh is trying to regain control by messaging from the Senegalese media to us, to make us be scared of her military intervention, Senegal, and all this thing, and trying to get to certain religious leaders again in Senegal and other places. I'm not saying that they have succumbed to it, but Yahya Jammeh have make approach. Yahya Jammeh have make approach to the leadership, some of the leadership of the Senegalese opinion leaders in Senegal. Because Yahya Jammeh have understand how governance work. And Yahya Jammeh have make approach to some of the leadership that went to show solidarity with Adama Barrow. The Imam Ratib of Banjul, Yahya Jammeh have tried to approach him, and I will tell you, the Imam of Banjul have resisted. Yahya Jammeh have sent emissary to say that he's been disappointed by the Imam of Banjul and the Banjul Council of Elders, but we'll get to that. You see, Yahya Jammeh is doing that for what? That's one of the strategies, trying to regain control and try to message. If you look at the speech, Yahya Jammeh is trying to message fear of war, saying that he's ready, his armed forces ready. It's a blue lie. Don't take it seriously. It's based on analysis, I'll tell you, but it's based on analysis of knowledge or our understanding, and that we have this confidence. Yes, we are not on the guard, but we have the confidence that the armed forces of the Gambia would stand with the people. But in order that for work, we have to continue, be responsible. Our messaging, our language, our strategy to approach, our strategy of acceptance, we'll have to get through to that. What Yahya Jammeh is trying to do is another thing. Yahya Jammeh trying to do on that point of putting fear is, Yahya Jammeh is trying to re-escalate to the fear of violence, so that he would stand at a position of strength. This position of strength, so that the pending, I'll tell you, there's a pending negotiation. Yahya Jammeh is already negotiating. We're not going to go through to that. There's a pending negotiation Yahya Jammeh is going through. In this fear, it's his messaging. He's messaging the defiance as well, to try to convince these people behind him. Some of these politicians who are not thinking straight, and some of the soldiers who are not thinking straight, thinking that Yahya Jammeh is not going to abandon us. He's going to stand with us. My brothers and sisters, I'll tell you, Yahya Jammeh, I'm putting it again, might abandon this, might, Let's put this into consideration. The reason I said might is, when you're dealing with Yaya Jammeh, you cannot have him 100%. But you can. The only way you can have him 100% by is hedging your bets into all the possibilities and looking at the facts and putting the facts out there. And it's up to people to think. And he have to come through to this. Yaya Jammeh might jump the ship, knowing who Yaya Jammeh is and what's on the ground. Yaya Jammeh knows that the threat is real. Yaya Jammeh knows that the international are ready. But Yaya Jammeh knows that the Gambian people are ready. But Yaya Jammeh, that's why he is trying to consolidate power. If he managed to do that, Yaya Jammeh is betting on staying on. To what? Create chaos. Thinking that when he created chaos, the international would put the step down and he will de-escalate the international process. In a sense, brought us to a stalemate. Stalemate of what? Renegotiating another way of keeping him there for some time. And in order of keeping him there for some time, Yaya Jammeh thinks that he will then able to, consolidate power again and stay forever. And I will reference this. This is based on the reference here is in international negotiations. Have you looked at the case in Syria? When Assad stick to his guns and did what? Got the Russians to intervene and give him the muscle. And the Iranians and Hezbollah. But Yaya didn't have these three core components. I'm just saying, let nobody think that I am pointing. Yaya Jammeh already knows this is what he's doing. I'm not strategizing for Yaya Jammeh. This is Yaya Jammeh's strategy. I'm just saying it here to warn our political leaders. Now, if he escalated to that level, as Assad did, what happened now? We'll get to a time that the international community will be tired and or come to a point that said, look, let's look another way. That's what happened in Syria now. But the same thing happened in Zimbabwe, but in a different case. Zimbabwe as well. You have all the neighboring countries, all the is it called SADC, the regional body, the Southern African Economic Community, or whatever you call them. All of those people are allied to Zimbabwe, President Mugabe, because of they have friendship from the apartheid, fighting apartheid. They owe a lot to each other. And the politicians, this is the point that our political leadership has to look into. The politicians and the the movement of MDC, the movement of democratic change in Zimbabwe, were power hungry. They were power hungry. They went and negotiated because they didn't want to stand up, and the civil society wasn't that strong compared to our situation now. And another situation was Mugabe was able to strategize and at least pluralize the Zimbabweans in a sense of having the old Zimbabwe and the new Zimbabwe. The old Zimbabwe means the veterans and people who have lived under apartheid. These are the people who can still not understand or empathize or strategize to realize that, look, we have to let go of certain things in order to gain our total freedom. If we hold on to our sentiments and instead of looking at the public interest and then move on, that's why Gambia too, we should learn from this. Let us not hold on to our sentiments. Let us not hold on to our emotions. Let's take our emotion and put a test, our emotions to the public interest. If I tell you privately, some of the times, what my thoughts are, you'll be surprised how hawkish I am. What my thoughts are. But if I take those thoughts and put it against the public interest, I would realize that this is not the public interest. That's why we should remember that. But as the same advice would go to the coalition partners and the leadership, they should remember, they should focus on the interests of Gambians. They should focus on that we have a situation that we have the Gambia and we have the Gambians behind us, and we have to look at the urgency of matters and move, and I'll get to that according to Brother Mahdi Jabati put it out. There's a strategy we can go through. This is a situation Yaya Jammeh is counting on. But the other reason why Yaya Jammeh is not predictable That's why I said, if I said to hedge the bets, it's not that I'm hedging the bets because I want to be right. No, I'm hedging the bets. And if I hedge all the bets and have all these three scenarios, then I should have a strategy to address all these three scenarios. If I said I mean the people I'm working with and the Gambian people as well. Because these ideas are some ideas, these are the ideas that we're trying to put out there for Gambians to share, put out there for put it to the coalition partners. That's why if I use the word hedging bets, it's not to win a bet. I mean, for the sake of being right. No, when I hedge the bets, it's to understand the situation, analyze the situation, understand it, and have an approach to it. It's not about analyzing and just walk away. It's have an approach to it and medicate it. The other side of it is, Yahya Jammeh is counting on a spiritual intervention. I mean, to remain in power and create a standoff to discourage a military intervention. Yahya Jammeh thinks there is a spiritual, because some of these marabouts and jalals will tell him anything. Yahya Jammeh is giving these sadakas and everything, thinking that there's a spiritual way to stay in power. You see, Yahya Jammeh is using all the strategies. If I manage to stay in power because of the spiritual help I'm getting from these marabouts, then what I can do is I can stop the international resolve. I can stop the I can mix because they'll tell him, look, I've done a list here. We can do this. We can give the zakat, and the Gambians, the coalition partners would hit. Will fight each other. The Gambian people will start fighting each other. Then what will happen? The international community will be discouraged about this. That's how marabouts work. I'm telling you from experience. Yahya Jammeh thinks that can work. Yahya Jammeh thinks that can work. He's betting on that. But Yahya Jammeh too is betting on a total collapse. Total collapse of situation. Do you know, the reason is because Yahya Jammeh might miscalculate. He's calculating. And time might not be in his favor. Yahya Jammeh might miscalculate. And get what? And get stuck by the 19th. And now there's no other way for Yahya Jammeh to go out. The option to run away, the pending negotiation, he have lost that because I've put his position too far that it's not negotiable. It happened to dictators. It happened to Doe and others, and Bagbo. But someone like Blaise Compaoré, just stepped out at the right time. Now, if that he might miscalculate, Yahya Jammeh might miscalculate, still holding onto the spiritual intervention, as many Gambians have. Remember when the 30th, not the 30th December, Nducham coup fell. Some of the Gambians who were involved still went to marabouts, and they stayed in the Gambia instead of using their heads to leave the country. No, they still went back to the same marabout that told them everything was going to work out. They went back to that marabout, and that marabout tell them, take this zakat. If you take sadaka, if you take this sadaka, nothing will happen. Nobody will talk about the case again. What happened? They got caught. Yahya Jammeh, same thing might happen to Yahya Jammeh. And finally, if everything, this escalation fell, and Yahya Jammeh now miscalculated. I'll tell you, there's a Emeba, the Interior Minister. There's a figment of a crazy idea that Emeba is carrying. Emeba is carrying with some of these generals. And you see, and these people too are strategizing now. What are they strategizing is, Emeba have been put forward by these generals. But why Emeba has been put forward by this general? Because of this general think that Emeba is more knowledgeable than them. Because most of the general, the Bora colleagues, the Sol Badges, they cannot even read a sentence properly. But they think that because Emeba have a bit of an education, Emeba have the confidence to lead. And Emeba is the assistant to Emeba is the guy in the Navy called what's the guy in the Navy called again? I've got the name somewhere. It's called Sila Kujabi. Now, Sila Kujabi, Emeba, Sol Baji, Bora Koli, and we have a list of them. We got their names and we're working on them and we're working on things. These people now, They're working on these things. This is the reason why Yaya Jammeh brought in those 18 so-called mercenaries. Some of them are Kasama, some of them are Gambian former mercenaries, to guard him, because now Yaya Jammeh is running away from this group. You see, there's two groups now. You have this group of the generals with some of their junglers, and Yaya Jammeh is in the point of now running away from this Ameba and or others. In what sense? That this Ameba and others have realized that Yaya Jammeh is actually negotiating a way out. You see, that's why we have collaborated some of these things in many ways. Now, they're knowing that then Yaya Jammeh is about to abandon them. They're thinking that, okay, they themselves might create a situation that chaos will happen, and they will call the factor that Ameba is the interior minister, that interior ministers have stepped in to take control, and martial law is implanted in the Gambia, and that is a constitutional coup d'etat. They're working on that, and I'll tell you what, don't be scared of that. It's nonsense, but it might happen. Do you know why? Because that spirituality. They're working on spirituality. Where's Ameba today? Ameba have traveled to Mali and Guinea-Conakry, using the land borders toward spirituality for this mission. For this mission. That's why when we say to the government in wait to listen, this is what we're doing. To listen, this is what is really happening. Yaya Jammeh might go because of the negotiations, but Yaya Jammeh might, because he's asking for something way. It might not be rich, and time might be against us. Yaya Jammeh is calculating on staying through what reconciliating power, by going back to all these people that who helped him before, try to convince them, try to intimidate them, for him to stay in power. I mean, intimidating us, try to intimidate us, and Yaya Jammeh might miscalculate because of spiritual interventions that he thinks can happen, and we can have a scenario of a constitutional coup based on these people. They're figment of, because of, you see, that's the danger of it. When you deal with people that don't have the competence, know the implications of international law, international resolve, understand even what, they don't even know what the coup d'etat is. Knowing, understanding the people's power. These are the situation. That's why the biggest thing we have today is our people power. The biggest thing we have is the people power. Now, the reason I said we are not exposing this because of we are strategizing for Yaya Jammeh. We are exposing this because of we trying to convince and win the confidence of people. To try to win the confidence of the people on the ground, to tell them, look, we know what's going on, and something's been dealt with. It's been dealt with. We will be dealt with. We assign the people that will be dealt with by the political leadership, because I believe that they will take that advice. Not from me, but from us, or the diaspora. They will take that advice from the people on the ground, Madi Jabate and others, hashtag Gambia and others, and they will do the right thing. And what that does is, you see, this change is irreversible. What that thing, the reason we are still talking here is to bring a peaceful solution. A peaceful solution. But not that it can be reversed. Yaya Jammeh cannot stay there. Whatever it takes, but we can avoid that. That's the important point of discussion, to avoid it. That's the strategy is working on. The strategy is else to take Yaya Jammeh out if the peaceful solution is not a strategy we talk on radio. Or on Facebook Live or anywhere medium. This is to win the confidence in order to influence our desire. Because these are trying times when people are really restless, and they don't have the information that they need to relax and focus and move on with our daily lives. Now, what is our strategy? This is where it comes back to my brother Madi Jabate. But let's remember, if you say what's our strategy, we have to remember what brought us here. What brought us here? What brought us these gains? How can we consolidate the date on these gains? That's the position we are now. We have gone through these hurdles and we came here for 22 years. As I said, it's not something that we gain overnight. I know when we had the victory, we forgot all the fight. Emotions came over and overwhelming joy and everything. We forgot that we went enjoyed 22 years of dictatorship. We totally forgot about the 22 years of dictatorship. That's how Allah works. When you are under strenuous conditions, you never think of its finishing. Because when you think of that condition being ending, I'll tell you, whenever you're in a difficulty and you think of that condition finishing, and then you have relief. That's the thing. You have a relief that it will finish. But when it finishes, you tend to forget the difficulty. You tend to forget all the hardship of the 22 years, but you tend to forget the 22 years of endurance you had, the 22 years of sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears. We Gambians totally forgot about those 22 years. That Friday. And Gambians started strategizing how we going to celebrate. How we going to celebrate. I said, the fight just started. Now, what brought us here? And this is very important to the diaspora community, because we remember what the dictatorship did and why the dictatorship survived. It's because of he consolidated power. Through what? The people. Through what? The influential people. Alcalos, imamos, council of elders, prominent people be given positions, ambassadors, ministers, and that's the way. So I had to take off the call. That's the way he did it. And what? Create an agency. The agency was there, the NSS was there, but he created the NIA. I'll get to that. That's why before he gets to soldiers, there are a lot of barriers that we need to deal with. And that's how divided we were. But how did we get here? You see, all that we did was, if we want to look at how did we succeed, was what we did to come together. As I say, coming together is the solution to the problem. Would give us everything we need. We give us security, give us every other thing. Give us even the speed of doing things. Because of when we came together, and what the political leadership. I kept, when I was saying it, emphasizing on political leadership, I can remember people saying, but other countries did it. And I said, but no, I didn't say that. It cannot affect change by people going desperate. But we don't want to wait for that or get to that. Because when you change a government through desperation, through chaos, and select a leader through desperation and chaos, you don't have the right leadership. But if you manage to mobilize and have the critical mass and go to a democratic process and select a leadership to a democratic process and confront the dictator, you will win. And when you win, you already have the right leader to take you forward. But it's not taking the dictator out, but it's how to move forward from when you take the dictator out. That's what we did. The political leadership came out. But through what? Advocacy. I know. We went on repeating ourselves. I'll tell you, almost every program we do, most people would realize. And at times, people even got fed up and stopped even listening to the radios. And we were challenged to try to even reinvent ourselves or reinvent our messages, try to re-message it. And we had to go deep down and raw down to bring things out. And our emotions came out. Probably been angry, saying the wrong words at times, been angry, or be so much emotional and crying out over radios or over our messaging. We did all that because of the frustration. That's what the 22 years of dictatorship did. Sleepless nights, thinking of tomorrow I'm having a program. You cannot sleep. I'm thinking, how can I convince the people? How can I win the people? Because the people are the power. But through that messaging, the financial contribution, and we mobilize. But we, if I say we, not the diaspora alone, and on the ground, I'll tell you, it came to a time that Yahya Jammeh, the last years, was so bad. Some of these people you have seen coming out now, I'll tell you, they were still being seen as people supporting Yahya Jammeh. I'll tell you, the coalition came through many ways. People didn't hear of James Fulmus Gomez for years. But if people knew what James Fulmus Gomez did, I mean, how much he pushed himself or pushed the other player, his compatriots, in order to bring this coalition together. That's why the leadership has emphasized on this. We were asked to come together. There was no other option. There was no other option but to come together. They don't have an option to come together. Yes, and they buried their interests. They buried everything and came together, and they finally saw Gambia. These are the efforts. And this is how we did it. We mobilized every other influence we had. Some of them were in the APRC. Some of them were Council of Elders, somewhere else, been identified as Yahya supporters. They all went underground. And during the campaign period, the same thing happened. Yeah, we didn't even see them campaign for us, but they were campaigning underneath because of the level of unpopularity of Yahya Jammeh, and they finally realized who they're dealing with. This is what brought us here. That's why I said this is the same strategy that will bring us, continue it, give the people's power to bring us what we aspire for. I will just go through in a minute here, just to point out, highlight brother. I'm not sure who is older now, but I think Madi older. I give him benefit of doubt. Koto Madi Jobate's post. Madi Jobate building the new Gambia. Strategy for civil disobedience. Gambians, we must understand that Yahya Jammeh is not relenting but determined to subvert our verdict and our sovereignty with impunity. He must be stopped because he has no power but our power. Yahya have no power but our power, the people power. Brother Mad is right. He is trying to subvert us, as we just been analyzed. We let us throw his New Year's message into his face. We must not allow Yahya Jammeh to arrest our people for exercising their civil and political right. We must not allow Yahya Jammeh to run the Gambia like a police state anymore and turn this term state security apparatus into a gangster force to torture us. This must stop. We must stand together and intensify our civil disobedience to tell him to stop and respect our constitutional rights and freedom. Yes, Maidabo, yes. I'm emphasizing that coup d'etat work no more in Africa, for that matter, especially in our case. No more. It is completely nonsense. But what I'm trying to say is the people thinking about it, they don't know it. Because of they don't think logically. That's why it's dangerous. We're dealing with people that, the dictators are not logical at times, especially this dictator. Especially they base some of their behavior or deeds on spirituality. Just as what we had in Haiti and or every other dictatorship, on spirituality. This is the danger of it. But let me concentrate here. What Brother Madi is saying, as we said, the hashtag Gambia and all the other civil society have stood up, and this is the power. And if you realize what happened, the open mic, these guys went and strategized and took the risk and went where? To the open mic and took over the open mic. And the diaspora, can we remember? Last year open mic, and all the open mics, what we used to say? Yes, following Gambia, following Uneka Gambia. And we have seen the achievement when we came together. And you see, that's why I said, at times people preserve themselves because they have not seen any other way to change. But they are waiting. Not that they are not conscious of change, not that they don't know change should happen, but they have not seen a leadership to change. And they cannot take that leadership. They don't have the mechanism to take that leadership, but leadership created, they will follow. And we have created leadership, and we have just galvanized all these youths, not that they were not aware. They were prime, ready to be led. And now they have been led. That open mic, yes, for days we knew about the NIA strategizing to see how to bring down this the hostile Gambia and civil society down. That's why we shouldn't allow that. The political leadership should recognize the strength of the people, should recognize the strength of the leadership of the hostile Gambia. The leadership of the hostile, that's leadership, importance of leadership. I'll tell you what we security forces do. In order to stop anything, even in demonstration, when we do our formations, we do a formation in a war, first to protect ourselves, because we don't want to be overrun. But what we do in order to stop that demonstration is to snatch. Who to snatch? The leadership of the demonstration. When we snatch the leadership, any organization without leadership is bound to collapse. That's why Yaya knew this. That's what they try to do. Let's not allow it. This is a deciding moment. As Brother Mahdi Jabati said, let us not allow it. And I will come to the NIA. The NIA, they are the most complacent. You see, the NIA, the senior management, this thing is just as the generals. That's why I don't waste my time on the generals. Maybe one or two generals might be, I'm not saying all of them, but as the head of the army itself, the most senior people, I don't waste my time on them. It's the same as the senior of the NIA. I tell you, we have approached some of them, and some of these people were even, to the extent of some of these people are so controversial, they have been named, accused of a lot of things. We give them reassurance that because of, look, the peace is worthy. Whatever you have committed or this thing, just strategize with us, work with us. If we end this, I'll tell you, we can, I'm not going into what we have, but we know they are hard cracked or not. But doesn't mean that the whole of the NIA, because of the reason we knew about most of this information is through the NIA. That's why when we address the NIA and NIA now, let's address them, yes, as an institution, but let's make sure, just remember that we have now, within the NIA ranks, and we had even before. That's the reason how we knew some of this information going on about what they plan to do and how to plan to where the orders come from and so on. This is things we need. And we still need some of these people after to tell us where the bodies are buried and who buried the bodies. Mahdi said that we must not allow Yaya. We must not allow him. What it does is, if we allow him, it makes it difficult, but doesn't even keep him there, because it will have to warrant a military intervention. We can do it without the intervention of military, but I will bring that on Tuesday. We need a military security guarantee in many forms. That's going to come in Tuesday. We must stand together and defend our civil disobedience, obedience to tell him to stop and respect our constitutional rights. Yes, and we have strategized. We've told the hostile Gambia and others, and they will come up with a lot of other things. And every Gambian, for that matter, let them not intimidate you. Remember, they are still not using force for the reason that because they know that we have the power. That's why they're trying to pick us in the quiet times of nights or in the evenings. They try to pick us when we are isolated. They try to pick us when we are isolated, try to identify us as individuals. Let us not allow to be identified as individuals. Let us be identified as the movement. They're trying to intimidate. I'm not putting these names to put them at risk because their names are already with an I. We know that. They're trying to get Ganjai. They're trying to get, is it Almami Tal or, sorry if I forget the name because the Tal, Salu Tal. Salu Tal. They're trying to get Salutal. They're trying to get some of these individuals who are by default, even or whatever you call them, because at times I would say by default, it can become the leaders of this movement. Why should we allow them to sniff these people out? Why should we allow them to sniff these people out? The politicians, should take the leadership. And the important thing of taking the leadership is, as I said, I let them keep the ministerial positions as long as they think is necessary. But they have to start to give power of authority to people. That doesn't mean that those appointments are appointments that goes into the next government. But these are the appointments that you recognize people and give them power of authority in order for them to be to have the power to talk on behalf of your government and on behalf of the people. And because of these people have already put themselves out there talking on your behalf without authority. On behalf of the people without they don't need the authority from the people. Everybody but it helps to get an acknowledgement from the decision. And what it does is it gives them the recognition and even make them protected. It's like a security blanket on them, that if they are picked, then they will recognize it has high profile. The international community and every other person would realize that Ben Suarez has been picked up. And Ben Suarez is the person been named as this. But if Ben Suarez is not given any authority, and Ben Suarez is picked up, probably some of us would recognize Ben Suarez. But internationally, probably Ben Suarez wasn't recognized. Or the people, even remember the news, people in the Gambia didn't recognize who Ben Suarez is and his efforts. His efforts. And I'll tell you, intimidation would always work. You need, they are already message. I'll tell you how brave our brothers are on the ground. All these brothers got the message. They knew about the arrest. But before the arrest, even days, they tell them, be careful, there's a surveillance on you. You know why they give them that message? It was not to help them. It was to warn them for them to run. And some of them, some of them family members telling them, move to Senegal. They said, what? After, yes. They asked them to move to Senegal, they refuse, and that's the right thing. Hashtag Gambians leadership been advised to run. They said they are not running, they are steady, ready to stand. And why are we abandoning them? And why should we abandon them? Let us not let Yaya Jammeh get back to us. That's why the leadership should recognize them. Should recognize them. And last night, a very senior member of the coalition called me, texted me and asked me to call him. And when I called him, he was in hiding. This senior member was in hiding because he's got a message. And for whatever reason, he thought that I am the person to advise him. And he asked me, tell me, look, I trust you. I trust your honest opinion. What is the security situation? And and I said, why are you worried? He said, but because I'm a prominent person and I know that. And because I got this information, I'll be picked up. I reassure him based on what I know and in the intelligence I gather. And based on what is going on and based on what security is. If a senior member of this thing don't even know what the security guarantees are, doesn't even know what his security is, there's a condition of concern there. For him to call someone in the diaspora to reassure him. That's why we said that let's appoint someone of authority in the Gambia to be recognized as our point of contact. Yes, we are advising through certain channels. Probably our advice has been mistorted, intentionally or intentionally, because if you transmit message, the longer the protocols are in sending that message, the danger in that message being distorted. Not even intentionally. That's the logic and that's the fact of messaging. The shorter the protocols, the more effective that message is. If I have to talk to 10 people and give them a story, I'll tell you, before you get to the 10 person, I'll tell you that message might be completely meaningless or mean something completely different from what it should be. That's why I'll come again and say that. Yes, because I'll tell you, I've realized especially from last night, from this person, that what I don't want to be misquoted, and the responsibility we are holding, not me, because I'm talking on behalf of others. We hold it now, and the assurance we given. I see people are taking it seriously and they believe in it, but the assurance we given is based on what our political leadership will do. I'll tell you that. Anything that Ben Suare cannot do, anything, or the people I'm with, what we can do, we are doing it. But in order to achieve our desire would be the political leadership. That's why we emphasizing. And the reason I'm saying it here is already, that message has been sent to the political leadership, but I'm saying it here because most of the message that people hear are hearing it from here. Hearing from me, are hearing it from here. Tomorrow, I don't want to blame that, but Ben, you said this. Yes, I said it. And I'll stand up on anything I've said. I have somewhere I based it. But all that is not me on the ground doing it. My understanding and everything's on the ground. What we're doing on the ground and everything, we're doing our bit without authority. We don't seek for we seek for the authority if we have a point person there. We don't choose who that person is. Let be someone competent to deal with the security issues. Security is the most important part of it. That's why Tuesday Tuesday by God's grace, we're gonna have this discussion on security. We have to, as brother said, we have to empower the civil society and keep this people power going on. This is one thing that I need to in the reconciliation process to reconsolidate in order to create whatever you want to create, which he can't. We demand. Thank you. Brother Mahdi said, we demand that Adam Barrow must issue a direct and clear message to Yahya Jammeh to stop harassing Gambians who are exercising their constitutional rights. We messaged that before. I said that Adam should even have the audacity to address the armed forces. Yes, give a statement. Direct. And I was happy when, or Adama or whoever it is, the coalition, I was happy when Khalifa came and talked about the armed forces and in the way he did. But, I mean, we can address them, reassure them, and warn them, not reassure, but even warn them of their constitutional duties and what the repercussions are if they choose a criminal against Gambia, as we are doing now. If the NIA or police arrest anyone, we must march to the place of detention and demand the unconstitutional and immediate, the unconstitutional and immediate release of the victim. We must not leave until the victim is released. Yes. Yes, thank you, Esa Bukhari. The first law of nature is to preservation. We have to stand up to this. After the messaging, reassuring the security forces, after the messaging, reassuring the public, we have to act. And act to what? Anybody arrested, we have to go and confront. If the people are ready to confront, we have to have the leadership and ask to go and confront. And confront. If we have to confront after police station, we confront it. If we get to the level where we have to take over the police station, now let it be. Let it be. We have to start somewhere. But some of these things, I mean, I'll just point. I'm not going to go into details with it, but I mean, it's strategies we have to work on. Let us display our Gambia hashtag. Display our Gambia hashtag. Decide T-shirts, stickers, posters, billboards, videos, photos, messages, and carry our Gambian colors or on flag, caps, T-shirts, and scarf. Let us speak out on social media and share messages far and wide for information of all. Let us realize that none but ourselves can free ourselves. Let us intensify civil disobedience and put it to Yahya Jammeh that we will not tolerate him to abuse our right and power anymore. He is voted out and he must leave. This is non-negotiable. Let us stand together. Let us stand shoulder to shoulder to defend our vote. It's quite right. We have to make this clear. Through this process, we said with the leadership, we have to stand, make it completely clear. Gambia, I'll tell you, even Yaya Jammeh knows that he's lying. Why should we waste our time on debating whether it's a lie or not? It's decided. Gambia have decided. Let us not hide away from it. They're trying to intimidate us. Yaya Jammeh nako wasi Olof. Aman sembo soto. Yaya Jammeh amu dole. Yaya Jammeh hebani dole kadi. Suma ko munon si jola wako. Amuko. It's the people. But Yaya Jammeh is trying to intimidate us, to fear. And then if we fear, Yaya Jammeh is going to step up. Yaya Jammeh is going to step up. I'm not going to get into the other bits because people thinking that I'm telling Yaya Jammeh what to do. But I know that Yaya Jammeh know that. If he had power, that's what he was going to do, but he didn't do that. That tells Yaya Jammeh I'm dole. But we might have tried to intimidate us by doing this. And what this is doing is, you see, when we come together and consolidate, what does it do? You think that it did give confidence to the people only, but it gives confidence to the armed forces, the people who are with us, that they are on the same safe side. The fear would not get back to them. The confidence would stay with them, and they were ready to go with us. But if we don't show the leadership we took, we broke the fear in the armed forces. I'll tell you, the soldiers will tell you when we saw the civilians. That's why the gallantry and the stand that the hashtag Gambia leadership took, we should stand with them. These are the barriers that are in front of Yaya Jammeh. The leadership that the coalition government took, we should stand with them. And we have to stand with the Gambian people. And not let Yaya Jammeh cherry pick us. Cherry pick us. Yes, and a bit I've left. You see, when I reassure this politician, a very senior person, it's not OJ or any none of this thing, but he is like a senior. I mean, let me not even use the word senior. He's very instrumental in what goes on in the Gambia, and with Adam Barrow. And this is a person who have direct link to Adam Barrow, but he chose to come to us for reassurance. Yes, I cannot even direct him. I'll say this again. I could direct him to someone in the on the ground to reassure him, a network of support. But I cannot identify network of support. Not that that person is scared. No, it's safety. He's an individual, but he is part of a team. I could have reassured them by telling them, do you know that person? Do you know that person? Do you know that person? We have a network of support. But this network of support cannot even show themselves up. Because of what? The work they're doing. If this network of support have been compromised. No. And this is the assurance we have. That's why we don't identify the soldiers we talk to. It's the same way. But if we have a person of authority in charge, we can reassure our network of support to talk directly to this person of authority. They will not have fear of being compromised. Because some of these people are in active good duties in the Gambia. There are some of the people that at times I would deliberately criticize, yes, to keep their cover. Some of the generals I criticize here, they are not with Yaya Jammeh. But because of we know that we can vouch for them tomorrow. And if they keep to their bargain, some of the generals or some of the politicians now, and I hope, there's something going on. There's something we're working on. And if that thing materializes, but as I said, some of these people are still sitting on the fence. I don't know for what reason. That's the effect of dictatorship. Because of it, some of us have came out of it. It doesn't mean that all of us will come out of it. Some of these people were so close to the fire. They have so much, they burn so much that it's not just to put a soothing cream on them in order to save them. I'll tell you, it's a hard work. We are talking to some of the ministers we are criticizing here. I'll tell you, they are sitting on the fence. But we are not, we're going to, it's up to them though. We keep it on up to the last minute. They know the risk. They know what is coming up. They didn't have faith or belief in the Yaya Jammeh. But the effect of dictatorship. If this come out, fine. It's part of the process. Um, the interesting thing is, when I spoke to this guy, actually, he was relieved. He reassured me, thank God talking to you, I'm reassured. And he said something very interesting. He, in fact, shared a piece of intelligence with me. And he thanked me. It was scary that, I'm not going to say what it's about, but it was something. He said to me, I have this. Tomorrow I'm going to Adam about. He was telling me, as reassuring me that, yeah, he's in contact or something. I'm going to Adam about for this. I said to him, no way, don't do that. And he said, why? I said to him, if this was right, this thing would be there, this thing would be this one there. You said the person you got it from, you trust him? I said, I don't know that person, but the minute you said that where that office that person have to work, I said, be careful. I said, if this thing was right, it would have gone through that way. It would not have come through you. Do you know why it came through you? That's how you infiltrate. They know, they realize that you have gravitas. They realize that you have penetration. You have access. And now they're trying to use it as a vehicle. And he said to me, I thought of that, Why did they come to me? I've thought of that, why didn't they go through those channels you told me? I said, yes. I tell you, look, if certain things come through you, be careful about it. I think it's tempting. It makes you so important. And he said, yes, it makes you so important that this guy thinks that you are so important. You have this closeness to the president. And now this important thing or this important person now is for you to handle for access to the president. And when I said to him, did you think of this scenario of this? Because he doesn't know security. That's why it's important. I know Adam have a team of security around him, but there's another layer of security blankets that we need to put around. There's physical security, and there are a lot of areas of security, and the insecurity. I mean, in other to police security, if you are to analyze a security situation, what you do is look at the causes of insecurity. What causes the insecurity, or who is in cause of insecurity? That's the person you're dealing with, or that's what you're dealing with. Then, in order to able to analyze the situation and have a strategy to deal with it. That's why when we analyze Yaya, we don't analyze Yaya himself, but we analyze the apparatus or the operators, the people he have, the long arm, he's an octopus. Long arm, the diplomats, the religious leaders, everything. Yaya would use all those channels. Some of us in the diaspora, not willingly. Some of us not even willingly. And some of us, some of our compatriots or friends in Senegal or the media in Senegal, not willing. Some of the media is not willingly. Journalists love information. And journalists want to be relevant. And at times they will just run with the information. That's why we have to be very careful when we take this information. And it was good that he came up on these things, and this are the situation. Now, when we go into the strategy of consolidation of power, we have to use a strategy of reconciliation. That's why I said, let us be patient. I know when you say reconciliation, people straight away think of the truth and reconciliation. Oh yeah, people will be let off and go. Let off and go scot-free. I know what that means. If I hear that message, I know certain people, Lamin Ganos and others, use that message. I know how irritating it is, how frustrating, how anger I become. But those are the operators. Those are the people working for Yaya Jammeh. Us, Man Suleiman Suare, if I say, tomorrow reconciliation, the justice part and every other bit, proper reconciliation, I have made a program about it, and I understand what it means. That then ko by begin for Yaya Jammeh urgency bi. And peace, bo hamne then ko muna sampa luñ muna sampa dem ko. But I'm not reality situation. Suñ defé this reconciliation, reassurance la. This reassurance mo def fa win confidence. Lu mo win confidence moy everybody. The soldiers, Sibopam, they need to win some confidence. And this reconciliation win that confidence. Yes, these are criminalities. I'm not crimes or I'm not committed. And even some of these crimes, my sunue to the priority of things. And we look at the capacity, what capacity we have, what time do we have, expediency, the time we have, the process, we have to prioritize. Some of these crimes might not be seen as grave as it is, and they might be forgiven, especially when the perpetrators of those crimes have, in the latter part of this, help in the reconciliation process by winning back confidence and making sure that we had a peaceful transition. But at the same time, these are the same people that we rely on to give us more information in order for the bigger crimes to be dealt with, for people to have closure, those bigger crimes to be dealt with, so that they can tell you, look, if someone can tell me where my brother was, I'll tell you. Probably my brother is already dead. Just imagine this. If my brother's victim is already been killed or gone, I didn't even know. But someone who have committed some of the crime or a certain crime managed to come to me and said that, look, Ben, I know what happened to your brother. And help me in the process, or help the judiciary in the process of solving the disappearance of my brother, and help me gain closure, or even find the burial site, or whatever it is. I think logically that person, I'm not saying yes, probably if my case, as a person, I completely forgive him, and I think justice would temper mercy on him. This is the logic, but the reason, that's the importance of us talking about this reconciliation. I mean, we know these emotions. I'll tell you, every one of the sisters inboxed me and said about, when we talk, he said to them, look, my feeling for Yajame is this, but I can't say it in public. My feeling for Yajame is this, but I cannot advocate violence in this, especially in this environment. That's the responsible thing to say or do. He cannot advocate violence in this environment. And she's a woman. But I heard what he told. I'll tell you, most people have heard how diplomatic Koto City is. But I have private moments that I spoke to Koto City. And Koto City will come with completely Nongo Banyan slang about certain things. And I know that Koto City would never be irresponsible to come out in the open to use those slang or that language. But that language is in him. He's a Nongo Banyan. How diplomatic he is, how refined he is. You cannot take some of these things away from us. But when it comes to the public interest, let's test our emotions onto the public interest. Is my feelings the right feelings for Gambia? No. I have surprised certain people on talking about certain people. And I'll tell them that, look, if you give me the knife, I can cut this throat. And these people got shocked. They said, you surprised me. I never thought that you have that in you. That you saying this, and I know that by saying it and the way you're saying it, you meant it, that you can put a knife on the throat of someone and kill them. I said, yes, I can. I'm a soldier. But, and he is so confused because of the emotions I do so. I mean, my other emotions I saw, my empathy and all, he couldn't understand. I said, yeah, I know some people deserve. And if the conditions were right to be done, I don't have a problem to it. But I said that it's not a solution. It's killing. It's not a solution to anything. But that's why I won't do it. It's not that I can't do it. It's not that I can't do it. But that's why we have to test our public, our emotions at times, and be careful before we bring it out into public. It's not that we are cowards. It's not that we share and some things with other people. No, because look at this. Yajam is trying to, with all this, he's trying to not only intimidate us, but he's trying to manipulate us again. Yajam have sent a delegation to Imam Ratib for Banjul. That's why I said, don't think that up to this time, these people are coming out now. It's never too late until the action happens. Yes, people will be rewarded or accepted or empathize with according to how early or how much or how whatever we perceive them to have done. But the coming of the Imam Ratib, the Council of Elders, the mayors, and all these people is important in this context of what gaining freedom, peace, and without intervention. Now, if we start castigating or insisting on degrading these people or whatever it is, how can we achieve the confidence of these people? How can we move on to achieve what we want? Because we need them. And as I think I cannot go through the dialogue. I've gone through that's why it's good to have a good message. They posted through the Madi Bajabate's post, and I just ask people to go through that post. The comments are brilliant, and Madi have said it somewhere that yes, we should. And when I spoke to this strategist, I call him a strategist in the politician last night, I said, look, I appealed to him. I said, we know, because we have worked with serving member of parliament, that during the campaign, they were campaigning for the coalition. I said, but surprisingly, I have not seen these people come out. I said, let's form delegations, strategy form delegations, and go and approach all these parliamentarians. Let them give them a bit of benefit of doubt. If they don't come across, we have done our bit. For them to come together. If one people, two people, three of them, let them start abandoning ship. It's important. As we are doing the ministers, and let them even do it for the ministers. Whoever it is. It's important. Mahdi have said this thing. The council of every other person that left. But Mahdi have said something else. Going and showing our allegiances or endorsing Adama Barrow, it's not the photo opportunity we're looking for. It's good. Picture speak million words. But it's after that day. What are you doing? As an imam, what are you saying in your sermons? As an imam, what are you doing to reach out to some of these ministers? As an imam, what are you doing to reach out to some of these MPs to stand with you? That's what we're talking about. And I know that person might not even want me to call his name out. Sheikh Omar Faye been doing some of these things already. And not some of the things, I can't even say some of the things he's been doing on the ground right now in the Gambia. But some of these things of trying to get some of his colleagues or some of Gambia or the Gambians that are still within the system to come out of the system, reassuring them. And in a sense, telling him, look, yes, I have heard all these attacks and everything, but I have had support privately, openly, and everywhere else. I believe in this, and you see, it can work out. You can be yourself and be what he's been doing that, which we welcome. We have seen the Gambia law bar association. They have gone on to assault. This is what we're asking for, whoever it is. And Gambia, as we said, I have to just put this on charge. And as we've been saying, I know some of these crimes are criminal. They have to be dealt with. But some of these perceived crimes or crimes are moral. And you cannot, you see, we are not in a state like that we can try people in a court of law for immorality or of such, or betrayal of such. This is something that we try people and for accepting them back in society or giving them back the respect in society. That's why it's for them to do the damage limitation now, rehabilitate themselves, and through the process of doing what they're supposed to do, and society to see them back for that they are reformed people. When we even sentence people on criminal grounds and take them to prison, the best thing about prison is not to punish that person or break that person to be something else, but to punish that person or teach that person or rehabilitate that person to come back to society, to be a useful citizen in society. Then if someone, we perceive that they have done something immoral, there's a process for them to take and then to distinguish themselves. But in public, what can we do in governance? There's something especially in England, called the Ethics and Moral Committee. Future in the government, of our future government, we can have an Ethics and Moral Committee where even future appointments of people have to be tested. have to be tested through an ethics and a moral committee for on them to occupy certain offices. But if it comes to imams and so on, look, it's not for the government to choose the imam. It's for the people. For the people. It's for the people to select their imam. And I have once heard a guy said something, or been asked a question, he answered the question. In Wolof ñu ne ko ndax njaalokat dina jiite mu ne waaw njaalokat dina jiite njaalokat. But if we belong to a society that would permit Suleiman Soare, with all my flaws, to be a leader, the problem is not Suleiman Soare, the problem is that society is us. It's us. As it's been said in English, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is the king. Land of the blind, one-eyed man is the king. Our responsibility is what? To build up a better society, build up a better civil society, build up a better institutions. It's not individuals that can change us. So that we can have laws and policies that are democratic, based on our constitution. Some of the things we have on from our emotions, because we go into that can only be exercised in a dictatorship. And we don't want a dictatorship. We want a democratic government. That's why let's think of what we wish for. And know that democracy is nice, but it's difficult. Because when we have a democratic government, we have a constitution, and any law that doesn't conform to the constitution cannot be a law, cannot be a just law, cannot be practiced. Any policy. That's why in England, the way a caveat or the way they come around is by having a ethics and a moral committee. In that way, you can subvert or you can bring a check and balance in a way that some people can be excluded, and some people might even avoid taking appointments, or if they happen to commit some of these things that we perceive as immoral or unethical, we can take them to account. Because some of the things, crimes we perceive as crimes, they cannot be prosecuted. But we can take them to the ethics committee and refer or make a complaint, because in that law policy, there's a way to raise up a complaint against Ben Suare for his behavior in according a contract or sitting on a panel that gives a contract, or Ben Suare using prostitutes, or Ben Suare using illicit drugs, and Ben Suare sitting on a committee or sitting on occupying a position in public that is advocating against drug use or against being an imam, against sorry, not an imam, or being a figure against prostitution, enforcing a law against prostitution, being a part of the executive, doing this or doing that. This is how we go through it. You cannot take them to prison, but you can make them lose their job and punish them for it and disgrace them in public, and for them to go back to public and rehabilitate themselves. This is the situation Gambia we are now. That's why we have to just remember that it's difficult. But let us remember that, as Brother Mahdi said, this change is inevitable. Cannot be stopped. But what we're talking about is how to bring a peaceful change. And that peaceful change can only be bring about by keeping to what brought us here, the people's power. And I'll appeal again, the strategies we use, mobilize and now we have everything on the ground. We have to consolidate on that gains. And I'm appealing again for the diaspora community and any other person that can help the GoFundMe for the hashtag Gambia have decided, in order to stay focused and so on. And we are appealing again to the leadership to give positions or appoint responsibilities, give responsibilities and authority to individuals on the ground who can be approached to strategize with them and see things and take care of things and able to reassure people, and we can take things from there. And I think on a final note, just to remind Gambians, this is not exposing anything that Yaya, this is something Yaya already know and Yaya is working on. But it cannot happen. What can happen? Yes, the chaos might happen. And it's inevitable that at times, in order to have peace, we might have to enforce peace. And in that enforcement of peace, outside we have trust in the security forces, but it might not be enough because of the effect of dictatorship in the security forces. In order to be assured of that trust is to have security guarantees. And that security guarantees, those are strategies that people in power, people responsible should know and how to take. And as I said again, I'm not speaking on my behalf here. Yes, I'm speaking on my behalf, but on behalf of other people that are knowledgeable and are behind the scenes, on the ground, in the diaspora here, not only ex-soldiers, politicians, and other professions. They're all part of this movement and on this security movement. And we'll do our best to keep reassuring Gambians, keep reassuring you people, and it's all based on facts and analysis, based on experience and something that we always will try to reference to history or that can really be accepted onto this thing. We have a unique, but emphasize here, what happened to Gambia have never. What we happen, what we achieve have never been achieved. And let Gambians stop thinking that we can't. And let Gambians think that we can't do it on our own. No, there's certain things that we have to do on our own. But let us also remember that certain things we have to. We are part of the international community. We have to rely on the international community. That's why we have to recognize how to keep our messaging responsible. We have to keep ourselves relevant and keep ourselves in the news. We have to. Look, things are going all over the world. We have to keep it is going. And let us go on to this Madi Jabate's piece, share it, and not only share it, but discourse it and strategize on it. And this hashtag Gambia, they're not on the group. There are other groups. Unions, and yeah. And look, if you go down that the comments, Madi have expanded on it, and that's why I had said, Madi is calling for protection for other people. I'll tell you, Madi is one person we have to protect. He's humble enough, asking protection for others. Madi should be protected. He is one of the bravest souls we ever have. And he ever been brave. That's why we have to be in together. Yaya Jammeh doesn't have the power. Let us not let Yaya Jammeh intimidate us. Let not just let Yaya Jammeh pick our leadership, our youth leadership, our political leadership, our community leadership, every other leadership. Let us be open. Let us keep our emotions in the right balance. Let's accept the people that are coming out. Let's try by all means to get all these people coming out. And this is a strategy. And I'll tell you, let's keep on going. We are doing our best. And as I said, our approach is not thinking of our strategy is not taking the gun and fight. That's part of our strategy, and that's the last resort. We are strategizing. We are keeping in mind of what is happening because we don't want it. But you can hear the messaging. Yaya Jammeh is trying to message to put fear and everything. No. We Gambians don't want this peace. If he wanted peace, he had the chance. And let him just get out of the place. And everything will be to normal. Or you see, we will not spend our time trying to lecture whether we are right or we are on the right track or not. We know that we are. We just have to keep it there. Our tenacity and everything and just keep going. And we'll get in there. And as this is our security approach. We looked at it, we analyzed it, and come to the case, we have to take off the insecurity, how we do it is Yaya Jammeh, and how we do it, and what Yaya Jammeh is. We are tackling it as he's doing it. He's not dictating the narrative. That's why he's the one following us now. Because of the hashtag Gambia. We didn't never, who thought of hashtag Gambia? It's the people on the ground, the youths. But how did they talk about it? We gave them the conducive environment. But why? Because of taking the leadership, advocating. And at that time, we calling them enablers. That they are going to open mic, going to party in. Gambians don't bother. They don't care. Why us in the diaspora care about them? They don't care. No. That's what dictatorship does. They were preserving themselves. And we have them now. That's, at times you have to preserve yourself. It's not been coward. Even soldiers who come to opposition, even the American army have fought wars that they have to withdraw. A tactical withdrawal to preserve their forces, to preserve their logistics, in order to re-strategize and combat. And this is what happened. We went into hibernation, we did everything. But we have come to a level that we have made gains. And we have to consolidate on these gains by going through the strategy, the consolidation process, the strategy. And Yaya Jammeh is the one trying to reconsolidate. He lost the power. That's why I said we are consolidating. He's trying to reconsolidate because he lost the power. All the thing he had. That's why I said this is important. All the things that we thought are not important. We're saying that military is important. The military cannot govern without people. But the people govern the military. The military cannot govern without us. They cannot force and govern us. And the more we come together, the military realize that this is our masters asking us. And this is our brothers and sisters, our mothers. Because they're all together. From Bakau to Fatoto. From Katong to Koina. From Katong to Kalaji, anywhere else. We are together. It's no tribe or anything else. He's alienated. That's why the more we take from him, the better safe we are, and the more secure we are. And the more we let act responsibly, the more confidence we gain. And that's why we're calling up to our leadership to stand up and do as or look at the issues that have been raised, and we hope that they will take from this and keep the partnership. Let them keep the partnership we have. And replace had it again been emphasized by Adama Barrow, the importance of the Gambian diaspora, and not only openly. We had private conversations and where Adama have emphasized the importance of the diaspora. And in fact, Adama have emphasized, and I'm talking on behalf of Adama here. This is not on behalf of the, sorry, I'm not talking on behalf of Adama. I'm talking on what privately concerns that Adama have put out there and about the Gambian diaspora and how much he wants the Gambian diaspora to be the center of things in the Gambia. That's his. This is a private. I mean, he shared it with, and this person shared it with us to share it, because the reason he shared it is not it's not a secret. He said to me, look, whatever people might think of whatever lacking of people, because yes, we understand why the coalition are not coming with some of these things, their messaging and so on. But we are asking them to be a little bit relaxed about them, to let them try to come out and speak a little bit more vocal. Let them not leave Yaya Jammeh to try to assume control again. Because what's happening is, because people are, if they're not hearing it forcefully from them, they think Yaya Jammeh assume. And the thing is, there were many areas that this guy covered with Adama. And Adama, and this, because as I explained, that him living in the diaspora here, and he understands how it is, how difficult, how everything is, in the diaspora here. But during the campaign and how everything happened, he have seen how instrumental the diaspora was. The money, the coalition didn't have a penny. That's why how can anybody believe? How can anybody believe that the coalition stole it? Why would anyone risk their life to steal an election against a dictator? It have never happened. Because the coalition don't have the money to buy off anybody. The coalition cannot even promise anything to anyone at that time. Why would Alu Momon Jai and all these people risk their lives to steal elections? No, it's not true. What happened is Alaji Alu Momon Jai and the others finally dawned on them that people are speaking, the people power. The people power. I'll get to that. Let me just finish up this. And when it happened, and they covered most of the things they covered. Actually, the guy from the diaspora who visited Gambia, what they covered was the recognition Adama have, the appreciation Adama Barrow have for the Gambian diaspora. Not any political party. for that sense when he was referring to the Gambian. He said the Gambian diaspora. He emphasized on the finances. He knows how much was given and how difficult it is to give. And it's not difficult to give, but how hard we work for our money. And ready to sacrifice for our people and give. And not in the finances. And the largest, the mobilization. And I must say, look, there come a time, people were not listening to them. They were just going, having public appearances. Because of what? They didn't even need the GRTS. He said it's private. We didn't even need the GRTS. Because before we say something, or what we have said is I've already gone through Viber and other means. And who? Yes, people on the ground. But through what? Social media. Social media and the diaspora. And he understands the importance of the diaspora. That's why I have this confidence. This is something, his private thoughts. These are the private thoughts that Adama have and expressed his appreciation and his desire and his commitment to work with the diaspora. That's why, but I can say there's nothing like a good leader. There's something like a good leadership. That's why we expect a good leadership to complement the desires. What is good about a leader is to have a desire. Have the heart of to love the people, to have the heart to do good. Then if you have the team around you, the right people around you who have the same desires, who have the basic knowledge, experience, wisdoms and everything and support you, I am hopeful with the cooperation with the diaspora community. I'm hopeful that we will achieve what we aspire for, which is a peaceful, stable Gambia and progressive Gambia. I will come back to the point of the IEC, and I will call on to that piece of information I've left. I forgot because I've written it shorthand. Yeah, I have. As I said, yeah, I have released. I know people will say, "I don't listen to Yaya." Please do. Please do. If you don't listen to Yaya, you see, if you listen to Yaya, you know what Yaya is doing, or what have Yaya done, or what Yaya is about to do. Mustafa Carroll, I'm appealing to Gambians, not to insult or anything. I'm appealing to Gambians, especially family of Mustafa Carroll, and politicians for that matter, and everybody, diplomats, to approach Mustafa Carroll. I think he's in America. After this is a strategy, Mustafa Carroll can not absolve himself, but do justice to himself, to come and hold a press conference and distance himself from Yahya Jammeh, in a sense, and tell us, and we know it as a fact, that Mustafa Carroll was there, but because of what? He was intimidated. Yes, probably he was bribed, but it's not the bribery that motivated him, the intimidation more. And probably too, because of the cause effect of the dictatorship, Mustafa Carroll had to go align himself with the dictator. The proof of this is, we have Talibah Johnson, man of this thing. Yes, so certain things were not right under Talibah Johnson, but we have seen Talibah Johnson stood up against Talibah Johnson and Roberts. Is it Roberts? Yeah, the two that Yahya Jammeh sacked. He sacked them. He sacked them because what? They are not doing what Yahya Jammeh wants. You see, Yahya Jammeh is at times he's strategic. I would call smart. In a way, he appointed minorities, Christian minorities, to balance. He saying to balance, which is good. To positively discriminate or balance it. But no, it was a strategy that, look, I will do these things and play with the Christian minorities as part of the dictatorship, and to make them have a stake in a sense that they would be complicit in delivering my program. But the Christian minority, especially some of their leadership, and some of, you see, the dictatorship, I said, if we want to blame, we can blame every section of our communities. But some of this leadership in the Christian minority stood up. Roberts, and Talibah. And what happened? Yahya was angry with them, sacked them, and they even took a case to a court. They stood independently. Yahya doesn't want an independent council. And our brother Hassan Jallow as justice rule against. That's why Yahya doesn't want Gambian justice personals. You see, that's why we can stand here and say what lawyers have done for but we can stand here and say what lawyers have done for the struggle. Asan Jallow ruled against Yaya Jammeh. And what happened? And the reason Asan Jallow took the bench, if you realize how much these people are paid on the bench, I'll tell you, you can be the laziest lawyer in the Gambia and earn far more. I mean, being a lawyer. It's a sacrifice to go on the bench. If you are capable lawyer. Asan Jallow could have straight away government start searching out for international jobs, straight away stay on the bar to practice law. Remember not only the book of evidence or the law of references in the laws of the Gambia today. It was pioneered by Asan Jallow, written by Asan Jallow. He knows in and out constitutionally of the laws of the Gambia and the Gambia law, constitutional law of the Gambia. Who better to take on to agitate or then anything? They say, but Yaya Jammeh, he sacrificed and took up that job, and Yaya Jammeh had to sack him because he didn't rule. Then what happened? Yaya Jammeh happened to have Mustafa Kemal, and Mustafa Kemal stayed forever. The reason, you see, that's why I said Mustafa Kemal left on hell grounds. But remember, I agitated 2 weeks before Mustafa Kemal left, and I said to you guys that we have intelligence that Mustafa Kemal was going to leave the commission on hell grounds, and Yaya was not letting him off. Do you know why? Mustafa Kemal have realized. You see, that's why I said, yes, we came together, but Yaya did help us to come together. Because of the latter part of the dictatorship. Yaya, yes, he have insulted Mandinkas before. Yaya have insulted Banjunians before. Yaya have abused powers before. Yaya have done everything before. But the last 2 years of Yaya, he have done it at a magnitude that people, even people who are really sympathetic, people who are apologists to Yaya, could not handle it anymore. Could not handle it anymore. That's why we had confidence that the regime was finished. Mustafa Kemal realized that, look, this election round, this regime is finished. And his family, and I'll say it, yeah, Jarama, his family, and the pressure from the diaspora, agitation from the diaspora, the family felt the agitation. You see, that's why at times when we agitate, we might even say something nasty. Not that we meant it, but it's important in order to touch nerves from family members. I will admit to it. At times I intentionally say something nasty, especially say, call certain some people at Sanyawai, at Tunburi. I do that to irritate, because those are the vilest words permissible to be used. At times I will break down even and say certain things I regret after the program. But they are important to touch the nerves of the family members, to appeal to them, to bring sense to their people. When we did that, Mustafa have realized the people, Yaya, the diaspora. You see, Yaya even have helped for us to get him out. Yeah, he took the excuse for his health reason. Yeah, he's not healthy, and there's no Gambian who is healthy. In fact, for the time we have to we all need psychiatric and other evaluations and treatment after 22 years. And finally, he stood onto his guns, and yeah, I let him go. But Alawi Momandai and Malesala and others were all behind Mustafa Kemal when these things were operating. But we have to understand the effect of the dictatorship. They have to preserve themselves. That's why at times when we sit on our comfort zone saying that look at Ben Konango. Yeah, we wish that we can all be brave at times, but at times it's not bravery, it's stupidity. If you know that, if you react to it, would not change the status quo. Yes, it's nice to say that you can stand up and be counted, but at times it's good to preserve yourself and strategize a way to change the status quo, and rather losing your life and not change the status quo. It's the wisest things to do. Yes, probably most of these people were complicit. Mustafa Kemal, Momanja himself, our hero. Male Salah, our heroes, and everybody else probably were complicit because of the effect of the dictatorship. They have to preserve themselves because they're dealing with a ruthless dictator. Some of them are blackmailed, been accused of crimes they have not committed, taken to court, charged, and released, and set on bail that have never been acted on. But all bygones should be bygone. That's why we're appealing to Mustafa Kemal to come out, because Yahya Jammeh is referencing him how many times? Emphasizing on Mustafa Kemal and trying to say that Mustafa Kemal was a good commissioner, and we know, no, he might be a good person, but not a good commissioner of independent commissioner. Then Mustafa Kemal should come and hold a press conference and distance himself and actually tell us what happened and apologize to Gambians, because this narration cannot be changed. But we can accept his apology today. And that apology is instrumental in bringing peace to the Gambia. Then Yahya Jammeh we would prick another big hole in his vacuum and deflate his ego and the people around him. I think Mr. Faisal Kemal should come and do that. It's important. This is the important. These are the kind of strategies we should think of. People, let's try and find where Mustafa Kemal and appeal to him. Let's try the leadership to try and strategize, appeal to him, to denounce him. We know that we're not going to an elections. It's just to prevent chaos. We're not saying that because of we are not saying we're going to elections. We're not saying that we're going to the Supreme Court. As I said, go to the comments. There's another before the 10th. Because we thought before the 10th we should bring up of strategies and confront the situation and bring it to an end before any military intervention. Then all we need is military guarantee. We have trust and confidence in the soldiers, of the Gambia. But another point, if some people speak, you have to listen to them. And when Karamba Toure said something, and you see, Karamba is one of those people that, as I said, he keeps his emotions and he tries to be rational all the time. He compromises in a good way to try to bring solutions to the this thing, because that's why I spend my time to follow whatever he's written. Karamba have said something about the NIA, and once I've said it once before on my program that it needs to be scrapped. When I said about the army, I said need to be reformed. Yes, the important thing about bringing up this thing is the army. I'll get to that when I talk about security. Why the army need to be restructured and whatever. Because on what? But why did I choose the NIA? I'm not being biased. Because there's no need for that NIA. Because you see, people scared of the army. But we should be scared of NIA more, because they make it possible for Yahya Jammeh to do the things he does. He made it possible for the army to do the things they do. That's why the NIA. What we can do, we can have. When I said we scrap it, someone said no, because of the work, we need to tap all these things. No, we don't need that. We don't need that. In security, as I said, if you are given a task, so to build up a security apparatus, or look at the security situation, to analyze the situation, you think of assess it by saying, what are the threats? What are the threats? What are the needs? Why do we need this security apparatus as an NIA? It's over. If you look at it, you said no, we don't need it. And why didn't we need it? What we need is good governance. All this spying mission that the NIA does, it's not against the territorial integrity of the Gambia. It's against the interest of Gambia instead. Not the interest. They are not doing espionage. They are not doing surveillance, protection, or anything for the territorial integrity of the Gambia. But they are doing it against the territorial integrity of the Gambia. In a sense, they are working for Yahya Jammeh. They have been put there to work for Yahya Jammeh. When we have the NSS, the NSS, even in a sense, there was a time that some of the they ventured a little bit into the politics. We'll get into that of into the internal party politics, but that was a minute because when that's the problem. Even in America, we have seen the Fed at times are political. It's very difficult to draw a line at times. I mean, at times when the security apparatus execute orders, it's at times blurred. The line is so blurred against national security and party interests. Probably that's been the problem with the NSS. But as a whole, as an institution, they have been serving their purpose. That's why they were a small entity. We don't need the NIA covering every aspect, every department, every other thing. That's a police state. That's because we have a dictatorship. If we have good governance, a democratic these things, people are free to speak out. People we don't need to monitor them. Because if they are free, why do you monitor someone who have the right to say anything he will have to say? He have to say it anywhere with responsibility, obvious. Not to go into the theater and start a fire. Then we don't need, just imagine then, if you cut all that. But the important thing is, we need to scrap the NIA because of what? It's all infected. We have individuals that we can use in other sectors of society. But the vast majority of the NIA are criminals. They are criminals, complicit in all sorts of crimes. It's not morally I'm talking about. It's a criminal enterprise, extortion. It's a mafia. If you find out the extortion, blackmail, and torture, and these are the things. Some of these armed forces, they didn't do it. Some of this torture have been done by the elite, so not even elite units, the militias of the armed forces. Then those militias, obviously, they're going to be scrapped. If those militias are going to be scrapped, like the junglers, then you have to scrap the NIA. That's what the NIA stands for. Now, how can you assure security would be good governance? Because we don't have an external threat that we need to. I'll tell you, we need to. Go and infiltrate governments or systems or this. We don't have a sophisticated industry that we need to have espionage to spy on industrial espionage. Yes, national security agencies are important in many ways, but we don't have that need for it. Where we go for industrial espionage or try to stop industrial espionage. No, we are not sophisticated in technology or other things to do it. No, we can still have within the police force, we can have sophisticated criminal investigation bureau that can have oversights and have a desk within the president's office that would advise the president's that would be under the national security, advise president on national security and the happenings and briefings and so on, and any other thing can be done. There are many ways it can be done, and some of the things that the armed forces should have a sophisticated military intelligence gathering mechanism, not to gather intelligence. Not to gather intelligence from the public. I mean, because of they perceive the public as enemy. No, it's in other. When we say military intelligence in the military, these are the people that will serve as to bring in the civil military relationship, because we need a body that will bring a civil military relationship. And in bringing in a civil military relationship, that's the way we gather intelligence from the civilians to help us protect our military garrisons and protect our protect our territorial integrity. In a sense, when someone has picked me up on this and saying that yes, he came across someone in the Jammeh's regime now, because I went on to try to get him, very senior person, to get him to come out, and he tried to challenge me. Said, yes, you think we don't know that you worked for Jammeh before? I said to him, you lying. I've never worked for Jammeh. I said, what's the evidence? He pointed out at the document that I've written And I didn't know that it's still relevant to Jammeh and the Jammeh administration. But when I wrote that document, and what the document was, because they themselves came across a file just after the coup. And when they came across the file, what the file was part of the work I did in Liberia. The intelligence I gathered on Gambian mercenaries, the way I analyzed the existence of the mercenary, the threat and capabilities and their coded names and the recommendations I made on dealing with the mercenaries, Gambian mercenary effect. When I presented that file years ago, and that file became relevant when the Yahya Jammeh came into power, and they happened to discuss the file, and Edward, for that matter, really expressed interest in it, and appealed that let me be approached. He was surprised that I knew that much or I could do that much, and they want to approach me, and they did approach me to work for them, and as a full-time come back into the army. Edward, I had a meeting with Edward. He promised me to integrate me again into the army, and I'll be sent. I mean, after the transition, I'll be sent to a foreign embassy. I can be whatever, probably. I don't know. He just said a foreign embassy or what capacity, trying to induce me, in fact, to say me, look, you can have a future with us, this and that. That was the discussion I had with Edward. And when my name was brought up, another member of council was there. He said, look, and Babukar Jatta, for that matter, was there, the army commander then. He said, oh, look, Suare would not do this thing. And they said, why? And he said, look, Suare left the army because he said that he realized that he was working for a regime. And they think that I would have the same thinking, that if he worked for us, if I work for them, I'll be working for a regime. And Edward said, look, we grow up together. I know him. I think I can talk to him. And another person said the same thing. And Babukar Jatta said the same thing. Look, Akungo Jatta, he's strong-headed, but he's a good guy, and we can appeal to him. Babukar Jatta even went to the extent of talking to a family member of mine and trying to convince them to convince me to take up this job. I didn't take the job up. No. What did I do? Thinking about it, I did it for Gambia, for national security interests. I looked at my personal safety, I looked at my personal interests, and weighed against national interests. And I can say that I'm not taking praises for anything, and I'm giving all rewards to Allah, who gave me the foresight that time not to take that job. It was tempting, but thank God too, I was independent. Independent in that sense, I left the army 2 years. I'd never looked for a job. I never applied for a job because I thought I had big capabilities. There's no other job in the country that would give me self-satisfaction. There's no job in the country that can pay me my reward. I know how much I was worth. I know my self-worth. What I did, I went back to the Pulo Futa thing. I started trading. I opened a butchery. I'm just putting this thing out because I know next minute APRC and a certain individual is gathering certain things to start to throw that. But I am putting it to preempt it, and you people will know. And when I opened a butchery, people in Baka would know about this. I partnered a friend of mine who was an artist, Bubakar Ndao, may his good soul rest in peace, and who was an artist, and we opened what we call Print Studios. We do silk screen printing on T-shirts and everything else. I mean, we opened that. I was a partner to that. I was the sales and marketing guy. Still running my own butchery. At the same time, I had a shop at our house, at my mom's compound, called New Wall Trades, and that New Wall was selling fashion. And I was selling clothing and everything. I was not selling myself. Because I knew labor was cheap in the Gambia. If you have the little bit of capital and this thing, you can employ people and make. I was not the butcher. I run a butchery. I was not the artist. I partnered the artist. I was not the salesperson. I got someone from the family to sell. I have access to merchandise. Most of the merchandise I was not paying for. It's on a sell and return basis. And you see, I was thank God, I was independent. I was not tempted for a job. Yes, it would have been rewarding to work as a national intelligence analysis or whatever, rewarding for my country. But thank God, I deceased from it because of what I has this threat in that I might end up sucked up in something I should not be in. But I accepted something. I said, look, for national security's sake, I will help on a freelance basis. I am not asking for payment. I'm asking for expense to be paid. For me to do this thing for the peace and tranquility of the country. You know your intentions, and you go to it. The first operation I did, those of you who knew Lai Conte, Major Lai Conte, who was the KMC chairman, you can ask Lai Conte. Lai Conte didn't know. That's how I operate. Lai Conte didn't know why I approached him. I thought about, because through a friend of mine who was from Sierra Leone, Freetown, a refugee in the Gambia, who happened to know military intelligence for my matter, who works at intelligence, who was part of the Strasser school. And in fact wrote the speech that Strasser gave. He was a student in the Forobe University, wrote that speech that Strasser made to take over the power. He had to run for his life and be in the Gambia, and from his strategy, and we strategized to help to consolidate power. Because of when an incident happened, that we sat where we call Linger in Bakau. It was an enterprise that run by a guy, the Gambian gentleman called Ibunjai Linger, and we sat there and just by the road. And when the American ambassador passed by many times, and this guy said to me, do you know what's happening? I said, no. He said, this guy is trying to check whether the boys have consolidated power. He have to. He's gauging the people's mood, the approach, and he said to me, "I think you should help them." He said, "This is the dangerous moments, because if these boys, they must be nervous now. If these boys have been intimidated now, hell will break loose, and if hell break loose, I'll tell you, this country will not be Gambia anymore." And just to tell you, in that process, Gambians have taken part, especially at the earlier part, taking part in this change, because they believe that change should occur. And yes, mistakenly buy into that this was the right change to be done. And that change happened, and they helped in the conciliation process. Many Gambians, I'll tell you, if I tell you, mata sumane suñ bëggee choose ne ku musa liggéeyal yaa jame or ku liggéeyal jame or ku liggéeyal ku bi, in many ways or different intentions were different. Suñ ko bëggee def Gambia ñun duñ jëm kanam ñu ne neen nañ nekk di joxante. Yes, there's a YouTube video, in fact, where someone you see, I know people are looking out to get something on me. Someone saw my brother and thought was me. When this is a YouTube video that my brother was walking in, was walking along, and Yaya himself beckoned my brother and embraced my brother and start, and my brother asked the person, pointed out, and he said, I realized, he thought it's me. And I just listened to him. He said, I realized that you were strategizing, you were talking, you were this, you are this, you are the one. Look, I said, it's not me. I had to reject that call. I said to him first, it's not me. And I said, I know what that all was about. I said, and yes, he did help in consolidating power for what? National security at that time. And that's not my story to say. That's his story. He will say his story when it's time ready for him to say his story, or when he's called upon to give his side of the story. But I can tell you something again. He was in use as well. He was meant to be the Minister of Interior. He was the first person. You see, the council was always 5. When Masa, not Masa Kinte, Alpha Kinte dropped out. He was dropped off before they even consulted Yanks. So Yanks to this thing. Yaya was given the chance to add up a 5th person. My brother was approached in person by Yaya to be the 5th person, and Yaya assured him to put him as an interior minister. He said no. I will support the coup. I will support and help and stabilize, and do go through the transition. I will support you, and we go back to democratic rule. And when it comes again, they decided to appoint commissioners. He was the first person to be appointed commissioner. And he declined. But Yaya emphasized that, look, we have a problem with Badibo. And we know that with your experience, you can handle Badibo. You can deal, strategize with the Badbunkas and breed out. That's why he was selected and the first person to be announced to be the commissioner of North Bank Division. Up to the time that Yaya wanted and started strategizing to go into party politics, my brother was approached to start, help to consolidate in or message the party politics. He said no. My mandate was to serve a transitional period. And this is my mandate, and my mandate would end. And my mandate is not to serve the political process. And he was withdrawn from the process and sent back to barracks. And that's where, as much as I will explain to that, because I know the reason I'm doing this. They have from a video I did yesterday. They have strategized to come for me, but just to preempt some of these things, they will try to distort it. But I have already given the narrative, and Gambians would decide for themselves. Yes, what I did was when I went to Lai Conte, I thought about, okay, how can I help them consolidate power? How can I bring people out to convince the international community, to convince the representative of the international community that these people have support? That evening, I thought about it. I came up with a strategy. I first went to the KMC to speak to Lai Conte. And when I went to the office, Lai Conte was alone. He knows me from the army, and Lai Conte did the right thing. It was a sensitive period. Probably he told us I was trying to pull a fast one on him. Probably I'm working for the guys. We're trying to pull. I'm saying probably. And if he thought that way, that's the right way to think. I know he's a very intelligent service senior officer, and he will be very careful if a non-operative probably or a junior officer march into his office and start talking about certain things. The minute I started my statement, he asked me to wait, and he called up a witness. And in the passing of Mr. Jaita, I think, he was the cleansings manager. Mr. Jaita was from the Jaitas in Depakunda. He wore very heavy glasses. And we sat, and I explained myself. Why am I in the office today? I said, look, I want to create and settle for Bakau. The reason Bakau is, I said, Bakau is tense right now. And Bakau is very political, and we're trying to neutralize this politics, and in order to bring peace and stability. And Mr. Jati said to me, how you want to go about this? I said, yes, first, I'm taking permission from you guys, because I don't want to be seen out there mobilizing, and we are in a state of emergency, and being my background as a soldier, to be accused of anything else. And he agreed. And I said, another way of doing it, if you give me the permission, I'm going to the Alcalo. Who is my brother, Luntan Jaite. And I'll speak to the Alcalo, and we'll go to all the permanent households of Bakau. And then we'll have an evening chat with them, and we'll select a date, which was a Saturday, it's a weekend, Saturday or Sunday, I think, and we'll do the settle. And all we do is asking people to come out of their doors, to clean around their doors, but to show solidarity among ourselves. They said that no PPP, no NCP, no any other party. This is Bakau. You see, that's why when someone did ask, well, why were we emphasizing on Bakau? Why were we emphasizing on Bakau during the election campaign? They are only this amount of votes. No. Bakau is instrumental. The way we interrelate with the combos. Bakau interrelate to Busumbala, Sukuta, and every other thing. It's a connection. Bakauians are from all these other communities. If you get Bakau, and especially Bakau always is perceived to be opposition. If you get Bakau, you get the whole of the combos. And if you have the combos, you have the Gambia, per se, the influence of the combos. I spoke to this thing, the two gentlemen. I didn't tell them I was trying to consolidate power for the guys, or help them do it. And we agreed on it, and we went through it, and I did it as we said. And the Alcalo was impressed, and every household we go, they were impressed. All we asking them was come out to, we didn't tell, come out at the front of your house, clean the gutter around your house for your own self. But there was something hidden behind it, they don't know. Deception. And when it was going on, I already have established a line. to the council. As this team picks up and everything picks up, I pick up my phone from my house, call up my contacts and ask them, can you tell this councillor this is going on? And I want them to show their presence. If they appear in the crowd, it will be alleged, yes, they're endorsing the program you're doing, but it looked like an endorsement to the takeover. Am I guilty? Yes. But what was my intention? Peace and stability. It's not for a reward. When it happened that way. Straight away, they bought it. They came in. Regrettably, because of the crowd and the ambience and everything, a wall fell on one. I think it was a girl, and that girl died on the scene because everybody was rushing, and that was. We have to agree here that there was need for a change, but this work was not the right way to go by it. That's why we have to respect our democratic principles. We don't have to replace a dictatorship with a resemblance of democracy. We should have a democracy as a whole. When we did this, it was so successful, and this contact made it known to these guys that look, this was all done behind the scenes by Ben. I was invited to speak to a gentleman I never heard of called Baba Diop. I went and I said, look, let me just, I said I was not even going to go. And someone advised me, I took advice, said, no, smart kademal, kula johor wahala. Madam, I went to the State House. I met Baba Diop in an office. Down floor, a desk, not a file, not a computer, no nothing. A vacant office. And he, this thing, and straight away recognized me, said, oh, are you not related to the gentleman? I said, yeah. He was, and he was surprised. Baba was surprised that everything I was doing has nothing to do with my brother. And I'll tell you, I do things, Professor, I do, it's need to know basis. It's not about blood or anything. He was surprised. And we talked, and he said to me, okay, this we heard about this. But now we want to help the boys and all this politics. And I said to him, what do you want to do? He said, no, because of that's why we invite you. We heard that you have ideas. Your idea was right. We seen what is produced. We want you to be a part of us and do this. And I said, I'm sorry, I cannot be part of you. That means that you invited me in a political organization. And I'm not a politician. And this organization is not civil society. And it's going to be an organ of the government. And I cannot put myself in that position. And I said, all I can tell you is, you knew how I did this one. If you want to do another one, pick Sukuta. And Sukuta, you can replicate it. That's how they got hold of Musa Susu. Then after who became this thing, and they went for Sukuta. Then Baba Diop called me again and invited me to a meeting in Bakau. And I didn't go to that meeting. What I did is, I took an asset and planned the asset in that meeting. And that asset went to that meeting at Future Science house. That first meeting, that was the first meeting for the July 22nd movement. And I'll tell you, you'll be surprised. That's why if you start picking and pointing at each other, some members, prominent members of the opposition today were in that meeting. Or some of them have representatives at that meeting. I didn't go. My asset was there. And he was a witness to that meeting. And that's where they agreed to form the July 22nd movement. And who were there? Most of them, Tamsir Jallos and others. Civilians again, not soldiers. And the second meeting too, my asset attended. Where there was a house, I forgot the number of the house at Atlantic, just by Bibi Dabo's former residence. But where the vice president for former resident, there's a safe house there. It was that safe house was run by the NSS as a safe house, and after the NIA used it. And I can remember when I was in Liberia, there's a guy infiltrated. I controlled and passed on to the intelligence, and he was NSS, and he was transported to Gambia. And when she came and explained where she was put, that was the residence he was. And there was this second meeting. And interestingly, the second meeting, we seen more people came in, senior people, baristas, and different people were interested. They were at that meeting. Senior Gambians. Some of them now in the opposition. Some of them now dormant. Some of them dead. Some of them victim of Yaya Jammeh. They were there. I wasn't there. But I knew everything that went on there because I have someone who infiltrated an asset in there. I kept my distance. Not real distance. Yes, I was close to Ibu Jallow. Yes. Ibu Jallow became, before even him selected as a spokesperson, because I have a history with Ibu Jallow. And when became spokesperson, I was close to Ibu Jallow. I see Ibu Jallow any minute, any day. I've never gone to his office. We meet at his house. And we meet other places. But mainly his house. I knew Edward. I've never been to Edward's office. I've been to his house, Cape Point, Cape House, the residence then. I met him with Peter and others. We strategized with them. That is, this is. And now when it comes to the interest of them, looking into this file and the Gambian mercenaries, I said to them, look, I discussed with them about the intelligence, analyzed everything back to them. I said, but this is outdated a bit. Need to be, in order, if you want to make use of it, this intelligence need to be upgraded for that matter. Refinement. We need to upgrade information and so on. And I don't mind. I can volunteer and do it. But I would need my ticket to be paid. ADC Airlines, a Nigerian airline then, and $14,000 to $15,000 was given to me. I changed it to dollars. I, in fact, incur more cost on the trip. Yes, because it was done my personal thing. I don't buy information. Yes, I create the conducive environment through my funds or whatever, and to achieve my thing. But I rely on assets that I've built on and so on. I took it on without one person knowing why I'm going to Liberia. I put a blanket on myself to give stories to people. I'm going to Liberia for different reasons. Some people thought I'm going for holiday to Liberia. Yes. I went to Liberia. I took the mission to Liberia. I'm telling you because these things might come out. But it might not come out now because I'm saying it as it is. They might, that's why I'm telling you. That's a cause for this. They will attack me, they will come around, and I'll tell you a reason why I said they will attack me, they will attack my brother. When I took up this, I went to Liberia. You see, even to keep my cover, my passport then was a religious scholar. I was masquerading as a Marabu to go into Liberia. Because for my own safety and for what I meant to do. Because I don't even want to be picked up from the airport for anything else. I don't want them. I didn't ask the government for any securities. I did everything independently. And if it allows, after all these debacles, we talk about experiences, tells you how some of things been done. I landed in Springfield airstrip. Went through securities. I was detained. I didn't give in. But I bragged my way. I was detained to the time that, they push. They asked for more. I didn't give in. Up to the last minute, knowing that I'm not going to give in, they settled up for what I offered them. And I was released. And because of then that time, they've known that I'm not giving in. They trying to say I didn't have a vaccination. That was one of the things. They said I didn't have a vaccination to travel to Monrovia. The health reason and everything like that. No. They released me. And the time they released me, the coffee was already on. But they said, "Oh, you want to stay here?" I said, "No." You see, God is great. Biden, because of one of my assets was very close to the airport. Lives very close to the airport. This was a Senegalese, Liberian, Lebanese family. Senegalese, Liberian, Gambian family. whom I come to, because when I was in Liberia, I used to do escorts for Gambian dignitaries and foreign dignitaries in Monrovia and so on. When the West Africa Insurance Institute was to be transferred to Gambia, Koto Babu Sise and other members of the West Africa Insurance Institute visited Liberia, and I was responsible for their security. And a cousin of mine who studied in Liberia at the West Africa Insurance Institute introduced me to this family, who became a family of them. A lady that was studying at the same institute and happened to marry a Senegalese jeweler, who is a Muridian jeweler. He has a shop in Grandel Street, in a very known shop, a very successful jeweler we call Tiga. I think the surname was Cham. I'm very sorry, I forgot the surname. The surname was Cham. I mean, their house was very close. I negotiated my way through the 2 checkpoints, because I mean that airport was through the checkpoints. I did never come out as a former Eco-Mog or anything. I negotiated my way to get to that house safe, and they saw me. They were surprised. They didn't know I was coming. I spent the night there. In the morning, I called up one of the guarantees they gave me. That was a friend of mine. I didn't ask for the guarantee. That was Pa Sani, PF Sani. We call him Daddy Sani from Lamin, Lieutenant Sani. He was the contingent commander in the, then the Gambian contingent was cut at that time. He was the contingent commander in the Ecomoc base in Monrovia. I called him and I said to him, bro, I need to be picked up. I'm in the country. And he said, Blood, what are you doing here? And I explained, I didn't even, look, he's my friend. I won't lie to you. He didn't know why I was in the country. Did I betray him? No. That's operation. Need to know basis. It's not that I don't trust him, but I have to be kept that way. I gave him a story that why I was in the country, and he bought in it. But he was a good friend of mine. And he's explained, look, I have a this thing, and I was only allocated one vehicle. I cannot come and pick you up now. I'll come and pick you up in the evening. I said, no, I'll make my way. What did I do? I got my assets. Another asset, a Lebanese asset family that we yes, some people might think immoral is wrong. We did private security because of what the condition in the country. We did private security, and some of the soldiers no. I made private arrangements, and some of them earned something from the job we did. It wasn't illegal. It was ethical question or whatever. But it was nothing risky or anything. It was within the safety zones and so on. And I happen to know this Lebanese family. I asked them, and after I used them as an asset to do my work. That's why I had to give them something back. Because they were influential Lebanese family, and the Lebanese family in Monrovia were to be checked, because some of them were part of insurgency. And they gave me a great wealth of information and intelligence, and facilitated my access to certain areas and certain things or certain people. And during the course of some of my work with the police, when they rehabilitated in police in Liberia, with my work, it was actually these assets that helped me access some of this information that we needed. Yeah, they picked me up from this house close to the airport. They took me to their house. That's why the first place I stepped in. Lebanese family. They because they know my relationship, and however you call some of these people as racist or whatever, I was taken in as a brother. They moved a family out from one of the rooms and gave me that room, because just to the gratitude and the relationship I built with them. And some of the new Lebanese that came and saw the treatment I was given as a black person, I knew how racist some of these people were. They were surprised the privilege given to me, but they didn't know how far we went. I went with these people. How far I went with the trust I built with these people. And then in the afternoon, I went to the Ecomoc base. And then how I linked up and did my job. And these 2 weeks, I'm able to compile, refresh, and everything we needed on this file. And made my recommendation and everything. And the reason, I'll just put a reason why these Lebanese people trusted me was, you see, they that's why I said God worked in mysterious ways. They targeted me to use me. And it happened, I was already an intelligence officer, but out of that group, they recognized something in me, and I was targeted, I used, they tried to induce me, induce us, give us favors and everything. And one day, they invited me to their house. And when I went to the house, one of the brothers, called Hassan, Dalbanis. If you even Google the Dalbanis in Liberia, they're the biggest, most influential. It's just like you would say the Mahdis in Gambia. They're the biggest, most influential Lebanese family in Liberia. They own everything, mines, everything. They invited me to their residence in Benson Street, and one of the brothers, Hassan, took me to a room, private room, and under the bed he pulled out a telephone. It was a satellite phone. And he gave me to make calls. He said, look, call wherever you want in the Gambia. That's how we started communicating, using his satellite phone for services. We started calling Gambia and calling our people in Gambia and making arrangements. And in this guy, just to test me for whatever they wanted for me to work with them. And one of the days, he opened a safe with money. And he left. You see, he was testing how trustworthy I was. He left the room for a time and came back. I didn't touch a penny of the dollars, a lot of dollars. But he was testing me with that money because he was about to put their life, their security life in my hands. If I am not trustworthy, if I was greedy for that money, then I was not worth them have trusted me. And when he did that test, after I said, oh, look, the reason we invited you, the reason this is the thing. We had a Ghanaian contingent we were working with, and that Ghanaian contact, they live in town now. But we need to replace them. And already we have, we want to replace them. And we saw you, obviously, we approached, we've done our homework, and we were pleased with you. And we think that you can be the person that we can front for you to, provide us security in this way. This is within the economic zones, and this is it. These are the rewards or whatever it is, and this is the way we want it to be done, and we did it that way. And this is where my relationship started with these people. And funny enough, another day, I went with one of my boys, the Gambian soldier. I took him to the house, and he did the same thing with the guy there. And when he left, my Gambian contact said, "Oh boy, then use them." He said, "Sorry for that language, then definitely about the money." I said to him, "Look, for my pride," I said, "even if you want to do it, you take my life here, but that penny would not be taken. A penny would not be taken here." I said to him, "You think this is the first time him doing it?" I said, "He's doing it for your benefit." And I said, "Don't fall for it." He have tested me. He's trying to test a team. And I was happy that that brother took that advice, and we had the team, and we still have that team between me and that brother. He succumbed to the temptation of that money. We built that team, did my thing, and came back to the Gambia. And I submitted my file. I sat with Edward, and we discussed the file, and he was impressed. And my recommendations were there. And Edward asked me a question. "Bro, hence you don't want to be part of us. You this. What do you think? What's your idea of securing ourselves?" I said to him, "Remember what brought you here. If you want to stop a coup, you have to stop the causes of a coup. A cause of a coup. The reasons you guys given to overthrow, make sure those reasons are addressed." And I said, "Yeah. The other technical thing is to build up the military intelligence." I said the military intelligence. And why the military intelligence? That's why I'm going to bring it here. I said to my recommendations on the Gambian mercenaries forces, because I manage my analysis was this. It was two types of mercenaries we had in Liberia, Gambians. But you can categorize them three kind of groups, but there are two types. The three groups are some people that left in the early 70s or mid 70s and went to Liberia, and some of these people were field force. because I met them personally myself in some areas. We used to go reconnaissance, and we used to go to infiltrate as economic soldiers, but not as intelligence officers. And there's this guy Mbalo and Ture, but I've never worked with Mbalo. I've never gone with Mbalo. Went with a guy called Ture. He was a Zandam attached with Captain Sen, Lieutenant. He was Lieutenant Sen then. It was three of them, and Seninjai, the Seninjai in London, Downjai's brother. They were in Liberia together with us. I've done certain things with Seninjai, but to go to this buffer zone is Tony Ture, very intelligent chap, light skin, very small in stature, but because of some of the exposure. Because I remember once we were in a very vulnerable situation, and we all panicked, and I tell him, look, keep your calm, because we went too deep into certain things, and we thought that they entrapped us. And he panicked that he thought we were going to be captured. And up to the extent as when we get out of there, he vomited. He was vomiting. And and after when we come back from Liberia, he left the forces, and I visited his house, and he had mental illness. And I can really tell that probably it was that night that it happened to him. He was very intelligent. I think one of the, I'll just forget this guy. I just feel bad, not remember his right name. He studied in Nigeria as well. He did high school in Nigeria. He knows a lot about Nigeria. I remember, and so he was very, very intelligent. I think he did A levels in Nigeria, but he didn't do a university this thing in Nigeria. I visited his house. He was staying somewhere in Joswang. That was he's from the provinces somewhere. He was saying that, and when I visited him, I realized that he's lost his mental this thing, and I can attribute that loss of senses to that incident that happened that day, that night at Red Light District, and it was a joint that these people come in to drink and share information, and yeah. And that's what we call war neurosis that happens, I mean, to a lot of veterans, even in developed countries. That's why some of us needed counseling and other things, or still now we are affected with certain things we have seen. Yes, I identified, because I met some of these people. They tell me, look, we left Gambia in the 70s. We have nothing to do. And these people are even hiding their identity. Do you know why? They don't want their families to know about them, because they abandoned their families in the Gambia. They have no aspiration or anything to come back to the Gambia. This was one group. We have other group that went after the 80s. When Kukwai or Kukwai met them at the Mataba camps. You know, when some of these people, when they went to Libya, they didn't have choice. They tried to go through the back way, but decided or fell victims of joining this militias that Gaddafi has created, and they got stuck in Libya. And after, it became a way of life for them. Mercenary life was way of life to them. It's one reason. I mean, it's very dangerous. But doesn't mean that when they were in Libya, they were thinking of joining a struggle to fight Jawara, or after coming up to fight Yajame or any other government. No, it was a way of life to them. And after, because of the when you are a mercenary, you have vices. Vices would be women, prostitution, because at times it's not, you don't even have a family life. It's just the hedonist lifestyle, alcohol, drugs, and everything. And it becomes normal to live in a normal situation. That's normal. You cannot live in normality. You always want to you live in a crisis situation all the time, and it's normal to you. You cannot live in a normal situation. Some of these people were that. This is part of what I realized. Before going to Libya, I didn't know this. It's through my field experience. And and some of these other people were the people that were with Kukwai. And some of these people even abandoned Kukwai. And Kukwai after still have this. Because Kukwai was the only person, or people with Kukwai were the people who had that ideology. You see, you don't fight a fight. We fight for different reasons. But the person who really is true to what they do is the person who fight because of an ideology. Kukwai have an ideology for a revolution. Whether we like it or not, is right or not, he was doing it for something. Kukwai could have made a deal, I'll tell you. Kukwai would have cut a deal with Jawara. Kukwai would have cut a deal with Yaya Jammeh. And be wealthy and rest forever. But Kukoi, whether we like the ideology or whatever, Kukoi was fighting for ideology. And later what happened is, when we were in Liberia, we noticed that we had this three group of people, but let's say two groups. It's only one group that thinking of aiding the rebellion in insurgency in Liberia in order to be rewarded logistically and politically, and to come back and change the government in the Gambia. That was Kukoi's group. We have this Mohammed guy is very, he's called Mohammed Jaro, Mohammed Bari, Mohammed Bab, Mohammed Jaro. This thing is a Gambian, he's a Guinean, he's whatever. He's more versatile, more experienced than Kukoi, and he was more used to Telo. We have Smidi, Samate. We have other Gambians. What happened is, this Kukoi was the person and his group that was looking for this for thing. It's just like for the Sonko. For the Sonko was again just like someone who from the Mataba camps who have an ideology who want to go back to change. And he has some cerebral with it. And just like Mohammed Toure, Sekou Toure's son, he was from the Mataba camps and he have an ideology. And later, he was in Liberia, obviously, to be sponsored. From there, to go to Guinea. You see, that's how ECOMOG came about. That's why Jawara was convinced. You see, at times it's out of necessity. Jawara is not a hawkist. Jawara was convinced that's necessary. That's a necessity to stand up to what is happening in Liberia, to form economy community, West African economic community, to form up a military strategy to deal with this. If not, it's going to come up to every other West African country. There's ideology behind it. But as things went on, time went on, and Charles Taylor, in fact, when he actually realized his consolidated power, he alienated Kukoi. Charles Taylor didn't have an ideology anymore. All he wanted is to sustain himself. He isolated Kukoi and people around Kukoi. The other guy, we call him Black Jesus. All these people were abandoned. And what happened is, he started recruiting new mercenaries. And some of these people were even recruited by Kukoi. Former Gambian soldiers. Some of them have even served in ECOMOG. And Freshbot, Campariman, and others. There's the other guy called Mboj. Mboj is not a real name. That was his false certificate he used. And other people came in. And even when I was in Liberia, my trip, I met a Gambian who was there trying to cross the rebel line to join the rebellion in order to become a mercenary. How desperate some of the Gambians were. When we recognize this, then that's why I recommended truly to the junta. And this is based on, yes, it's the military. It's not a civilian thing to do. How to deal with this? I said, these people will come back, but Kukoi is the one coming back. Kukoi is not medically fit. He's not physically fit. Kukoi is ideologically backwarded now. The communist, I profiled Kukoi and gave him who Kukoi was. And the people around Kukoi, I said most of them are coming back to Gambia because they're tired. Not that they are coming with Kukoi because they want to fight. No, because they are tired of this existence. They have no other skills to survive. The only skills they have to survive is as a mercenary, and they are tired of this. These people are good people who went for greener pastures or bought into an ideology that Kukoi sold them, but they are tired of it. I say, what we can do, one of the strategies was to pull the carpet from Kukoi. I showed them a strategy that they can invite Kukoi on a negotiation, reconciliation. But in a sense, is to get the people around Kukoi off and get rid of Kukoi. Yes, I did advise that. I'm not shying away from it. When it's necessary, we have to do it. Because I know Kukoi will never relent. You see, this was the situation. And that Mbalo the guy Fatu interview the other day, who was part of the Farafenya attackers, if you listen to Mbalugan's statement, he have said it. They wanted to come back home. They were tired. After, Charles Taylor abandoned them. You think if Charles Taylor have given them political and moral and logical support, you think they would not have been more powerful or more people? No, he abandoned them. Kukoi then was desperate. Kukoi have to come and do something. Because of what? Charles Taylor now have in order to survive, to this say, have strategized and build up relationship with Yaya Jammeh. Now Yaya Jammeh and Charles Taylor and other Gambian mercenaries built up a relationship through Baba Job and Baba Job's brother and others. You see, that was, then who got isolated? Kukoy. Kukoy got isolated. And now desperate. Now Charles Taylor didn't need him. There's no need for him. When Charles Taylor was leaving town, if you look at the security, if you know the Gambian mercenaries, some of them were there. They were the people he left town with. Just like Yaya Jammeh today, he's got Gambian mercenaries around him. If he's living in town, those are the people he's going to live in town with. That's why you soldiers around him, you got to be wise up. That's how they work. Charles Taylor, that's what they did. When we advised that, this was the thing. That's why they came back. And I said to it, that was one of the strategies. I said, when it happened, what you do is approach Kukoy, a neutral guy, try to convince him. Kukoy was sophisticated, you know. He made sure Yaya could not get him the way Yaya think he could. Try to make a deal with him without the involvement of international bodies. No, Kukoy insists on the ECOWAS and other international organizations in order to take up a deal. Yaya still tried to induce Kukoy. Baba Job and others tried to induce Kukoy to take a deal without. Even Kukoy came to Gambia for that negotiation because Kukoy knew that Yaya didn't need him. Yaya was smart. Strategy. You know that me coming to Gambia, Yaya is not stupid. Yaya would not have me. Yaya would want to have me and my people. But if I come to Gambia, Yaya would try to convince me, if I leave Gambia, to convince me so that I will bring my people. Then Yaya would get me and my people. Kukoy got it. My second strategy was to infiltrate Kukoy by sending an agent who's going to join the Kukoy this thing and lure Kukoy in a trap to come to attack whilst an ambush was laid and get rid of him. Yes, I did. I'm not shying away from that fact. I advised that because I knew at that time, I understand that the junta was provisional. I understand that the junta meant what they say. And whatever the case, I weigh the Kukoy Sambachazang and this revolution and what we have with the junta. I think that we could deal with the junta than dealing with Kukoy coming in as an insurgency. That's why I said I'm not a warmonger. That's why when I say that at times it's necessary, I am saying it from experience. Yes, I advise for someone to infiltrate, and I noticed that some of this practice was thing was taken after, but only after. Yeah, you know that Kukoy was infiltrated by Yaya agent who had moved them from Dakar to Guinea-Bissau for them to pick up arms and everything, and if it fails, during that process, he poisoned Kukoy. And Kukoy was to be extradited. But because of Guinea-Bissau stood, Kukoy wasn't extradited. It was one of the things I advised them. The plot of reconciliation, the other thing to infiltrate and get rid of him. These are, if you, my honest opinion, professional opinion, I'll give it to you. That's what we advise. And Susobe Allah, Supase, I'll tell you my honest opinion and professional opinion on certain things. Taking or not taking. This was what we did. I advised them that. But the third thing I advised them was how to secure, especially all the barracks outside at the vulnerable ends, Farafenye, Kartong, and Kudang, and all these places. I advised them how to secure the barracks. I know Edward knew, but I tell him that. But they didn't do it. Do you know why? That's why, if I said again, Yaya amul security to lola, because Yaya su defon lolu, degala Gambia bi la ñoo secure. Man luma don wax mu secure Gambia. Nga xamne you will not have people easily come and take over a barracks. Motatam, I'll come to his point here. Motam mané mun nañoo am génné NIA bi, but am a strong military intelligence. Manelen, okay, manelen suñ bilé a strong military intelligence. They will have something we'll call a satellite operation. All those satellite villages, you nekk Farafenye, for instance, dañoo am civil military relationship. Boo xam ne dafa nekk covertly ne military intelligence will be responsible for it. Why do we doing this? Suñ ko defee one, ñu ngay def suñ national duties, constitutional duties. With relationship we'd have is all those villages nekk around Farafenni. La ñoo def dañoo am a liaison person kuy dem seen biir di waxtaan ak alkaali bi waxtaan ak opinion leaders yi di leen laaj naka ngeen def luy seen problems, what are your worries, what are your security positions for worries. nañ ñu wax sàccakat yi lii at lii ñoon ok waaw léegi nañ wax ak police yi ndig loolu liggéey police la nii at naxantee ñoom léegi ñu ne hee suñ xar yi suñ lii nañ ok léegi comme que loolu sax ñun nañ bëgg di ñëw def patrol léegi pour seen nag yi ñuy sàccat seen nag yi. You see, we are with the people. ñu ngi def suñ liggéey but we are with the people. We are trying to win confidence. léegi sax we tell us non naka naako yi naka li léegi xar yi ñooñu gitan si naako yi wala lii nañ indi soldat yi ñu dimbale leen seen naako yi saakatal leen seen naako yi things like that. Ten bu wow sax ñu seet naka la ñoo def soldat yi we do something with them, interact with them, wan nañ ñun ñoo bokk. But the essence of this is ñu ngi build pour mun a gam am intelligence from them. And di nga gis ne den suñ ñëwee dañ leen a bàyyee wax ne réew bi ne mu ngi seen loxo ñun mu ngi suñ loxo bés boo leen gisee loo leen xamut bés boo leen gisee ay gan yoo leen xamut or whatever let us know. Man maa leen wax ne ñoom ku koy bu ñëwee village leen jaar in Farafenni before they come to Farafenni itself. They would have picked them up and reported ne ñun de am nañ ñu gis de foo ñeneenti nit a ngi fi de suñ dëkk bi tey waaye ñi xamuñ leen alkaali yi xamul kenn xamut leen xamuñ luñ fay def and we would have picked up that, probably we would pick up ku koy before mu attack barracks bi. These are the kind of ideas that we work as an intelligence officer. It's not to intimidate, you work with the people. So nekkee da ngaa protect the territorial integrity of the people. But it's the other way around. And the other thing I said was loo xam ne soldat bu nekk xam nga ko dañ need quick reaction force boo xam ne dañoo prepare all the time in the barracks. Su dara xewee those people react. They need a guard force, guard soo xam ne dañ leen a prepare ñuy def seen guard duties and everything in the right way and everything. Dañ need a reserve unit boo xam ne dinañ am rest everything will be alert at you. It's not the top right di dem on standby without any base on intelligence. Nit ñi dañoo sona nit ñi dañoo fatigue nit ñi dañoo dem ba duñ gomaat standby suñ fa nekkee dañoo wax boy lii serious. You have to do it in a way of the people be professional. The standby quick reaction force will be useful. Dañoo xam seen scenarios dañoo xam seen drills. Did not you know what these people used to do? Then you talk new stand. Okay, call falling, ñëpp falling, then count. Ñaata nit 20. Make sure they can gain of it. No. Foog ngeen anticipate. Ne leen waaw. You people are the standby force tey suñ attaqué guard room because you have to know likely places that attack would happen. Suñ attaqué guard room bi yéen lan ngeen a def. We don't expect you to fall into because wait for this one. So attack if you so these are the things waxtaan nañ si yëpp. I gave them that advice and that was my advice ma bàyyi ko fa. After loolu certain things happen ma door di gis certain things I was not liking but I was close to one person. I'm not going to name the person. Su nekkee su waxtu bi jotee we'll name the person, a commission of inquiry. I was close to him. My daughter share intelligence with this person on national security. Because léegi realize now that there's a problem in the council. Straight away, gis naa a problem in the council. My daughter security threats. You nekk si réew mi. And I was right. But the person I trusted, in fact, moom laa leen da wax. You see, can do one. I cannot be disappointed because we have to trust someone, and people will trust me. That person disappointed me, and my life was put at risk. That's why I left the Gambia. We might strategize with this person because of information of national security. It's not about anything else. Put stability of the Gambia, because my you then you come from a transitional period, as I said. Buñ oil for constitutional review. I spoke. I went to Macau school. Tahaw now was my ideas on constitutional review, what we expect. On transitional period, consultation committee, I went there, I spoke my ideas. That's my civil duties. So as a private citizen, as I am doing now, anyway, I was doing the same thing. Believe me, Yaya, at key people he came, they were no one named, and they were there for change. But when did I realize that, these people were not ready? It was the death of Korosisi. When I knew the people I trust, and these people, I was alerted by other people, and it comes to me, I have, in fact, my compromise. I am in middle of people that are not to be trusted, and a lot of things I get them on, and I was privy to a lot of stuff, and because of just knowing of these things, I will be eliminated. Preserve myself. Feka, it happened. It happened already. I've planned for a holiday. Because I was living a life I can afford to come to the West for a holiday and go back to Gambia or anywhere else. And I never planned to stay in the Gambia, in England. Manyopu holiday, and during my holiday, everything got confirmed. Things got ravel. And that's why I get out of this. Mota solen dege. Ne man ligel na Yaya Jammeh lila ligel. Yaya Jammeh lila ligel. Su nekkee ne Yaya Jammeh man ligel ma Yaya Jammeh nguri Gambia lila len ligel. In a nutshell. In a nutshell, I am going to be attacked. Why hamnane, what nakoni, preempt nako, probably they will not come for me. But not lunywa, suneke personal, I'm not gonna bother. It's my personal life, I'm not ashamed of nothing. I'm not perfect, and everything Lumadef is an experience. And I learn from that experience. But professionally, Lumadef, I will owe up to it, and it's up to Gambian to take me to account. And I'm now what it takes to defend myself or any action that I did during that period. At most of time, that lens, la neke the whole of the Gambians. What am I, George Maben Gambian? Yes, Nala call up for this thing, but my best my George Gambians, constitute a court of law. Competent, use the due process, Manataho said, make sure the Gambian they are protected. Am nañ seen right to defend seen bopp ba pare suñ defendee seen bopp suñ leen prouvé guilty they are treated with dignity suñ leen prouvé not guilty they are free to live as a free person. And I will bring another point. The reason I said that they will go, another reason they will attack me, because I have got the warning. Because there are good people among them. There are good people, just like the NIA. As we sign about NIA, some of the things going on now, before they go to arrest, and that's the way it should be. Some of you guys, just as the soldiers, you following others. But tell us before you come, we go away, so that you will not be able to arrest us. So that you will not arrest us, so that we can prepare ourselves to confront the dictator. Kun yoni punga arrest, bol arrest, wahal, kolal, nga alert ñu ne yena ngeen ñu arrest ñu génne ñu suñu leadership out of there, then the people can regroup and prepare a strategy to come and confront the dictator. Su nekkee waaye nag could ñëw pour arrest leen, jël leen nataal dañ leen video, te ngeen xam ne after the 19th you'll be dealt with. Okay, I'll put something here. I've never said it over the air, but just to prove what is going on. I have to go to work, guys. I'm really late. I'll put it. There was a time few months ago when Yaya and his mechanism was jittered, and Yaya planned on a campaign on me and my brother, because they believe now some of the things I'm coming out with is coming out from my brother. The campaign, I got witnesses. Koto Sidisane, Wahna Mom, Mawaha Chongan, Ibrahim Chongan, Mawaha Bankamane. These are the three people I can name. Wahna Nyom. Ma explain them what was happening. That they are planning on something against me and my brother. Because of Yegnen, they assume or Yegnen, small brother, is talking to me, or strategizing to me, or Mange strategizing with other people, and I'm no longer effect. And they want to deal with that effect. And they went two things. Them approach some people to convince us to take a job with the IDM. Yes, we were offered a job a few months ago. And my brother was offered a job by IDM. Without me knowing even. They went to certain people. Loolu lañ def dañ dee use sa nit dem wax ak ñooñu sound them out. They went to sound them out first. How would we react to it? How would we take this thing? But it's two things. We can analyze it. When I sat, dama toog suma fii ma am someone call me from America. Koo xam ne mu ngi amoon access to APRC in America. Koo xam ne he was working with me. Daf ma dee jox lot of information from the DC DC embassy. Daf ma dee jox lot of information with the APRC guys in the diaspora. Mu ne ma boy mu naaw rek ne ma naka sa brother. Ma ne ko war naka la def gëj nga koo dégg and so on. And to be candid, for a few days fekk waxuma suma brother. But I thought there was something why this guy was asking these questions. But how malan? And next minute, that guy rang off. I had a call from Gambia and said to me, boy, nga moytu sa brother ñu ko offer a job. Ma ne ko kan Yaya Jammeh. Mu ne ñu ne ma Yaya Jammeh, Amadou Samba, and some people. This was the time. I'll tell you, this was the time they brought back Bassem. They're gonna offer your brother a job. Then ko buga delos what in the ministries. Then buga defli. One person. Next minute, a family member called me. A family member. I'm not kunyo. Wahnuli. Ne suma brother at yo. Then na buga defli. Job. Then na buga offerli. Manopi. Manako bahna. Have another family member from like we have families of different areas, father side, mother side. I'm three different sides of the family been approached on the ground by people from the and the story. Yep, I called my brother to check on him, and I explained to him. He said, "Yes, it's true. I have not been approached, but." Certain people have been approached and they have been talking to them to sound them out to see my reaction. But my brother said to them what my brother's reaction was that even Yaya Jammeh take the central bank and give it to me and my house here. For me to sit down on a table with Yaya Jammeh to discuss or negotiate or reconcile for anything, I'm not having it. Be reassured that I will never sit on a negotiating table with Yaya Jammeh or anybody representing Yaya Jammeh. I have nothing to do with them. Period. The reason I went to Koto City, the reason I went to Banka, the reason I went to Chongan is to have a witness. Because I know how dirty these people are. They could have done that, probably even not to offer us jobs, but to try to use it, to sound it out and message it in a way that we can be called as opportunists. And so that to discredit us because of what they perceive that we were gaining on or we doing and was really disturbing them. I would not have bring this out just to make sure that if anything come out now, remember a video I made yesterday. And remember that the present position we are. A lot of people will be attacked, and I assume I've never bothered being attacked personally. Professionally, if anybody attacks me, it's out there. That's how much you need to know. I won't come back, and because I will not be distracted, I won't come back to answer to any allegations. No, I will wait for anything. If Gambia have anything on me, I want it in a competent court of law. Morally, I am comfortable with my life and my doing and whatever I've done in Gambia or for Gambia or what against Gambia, I'm comfortable with it. My advice and anything against individual or these things, I'll tell you. If it is necessary, I will advocate to enforce peace. And if it has to take life, it's inevitable. But we have to do certain things in order to preserve life. And that is my position, ladies and gentlemen, and Gambia. Have a happy new year. And that was how much we have to speak to you guys. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.